My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything: service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbors since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine, a high this afternoon, mid to upper 90s. Later on tonight, clear to partly cloudy and overnight low in the low 70s. Wednesday, a bounty of sunshine, a high near 95. And Thursday, just a slight chance of showers to storms, middle 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris, Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 2 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here. Nothing respect it. Ask me if I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Matt Jones, man, take it to the house. The dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
For one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Hello, welcome and good morning into halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Gorgeous Tuesday to be with you here on our great stations, and we got you for the next 3 hours. I'm Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston producing today, and 2 days until kickoff. Get our Sam Pittman live radio show later on this evening. The only time it'll be on a Tuesday. The team will travel down tomorrow. And the buzz is in the air. You can certainly feel it now. Morning, Matt Jones. Tomorrow would be a travel day for the football team, and that's one thing why it is a home game. When you come to Little Rock and play at War Memorial Stadium, you have your crowd there more than anybody else. But you do consider that traveling to Little Rock isn't that much different from traveling to Stillwater, where Arkansas will be playing the second game of the year. You're going east instead of west. You'll have your fans instead of their fans. But a road trip is a road trip, and it'll be 2.5 hours and everything. So that means today is the last day to really practice and get yourself set before you pack it up and get on the bus tomorrow.
Happy Tuesday. Yeah, 2 more sleep. So we're Joe Johnson away. Joe Johnson days. I had a teammate named Dedrick Poole from Little Rock Central, was number 2. Man, he was a heck of a hooper as well. Man, it's so fun playing in Little Rock. What a great home field advantage down there. It's there's nothing else like it than playing at War Memorial Stadium. I'm not a big fan of playing on that turf. If I was coach, there's no way my team's playing on that artificial turf as a home game. We got to get that changed. But as far as playing in Little Rock, absolutely love the home game. Couldn't ask for a better start to start the season in Little Rock this year.
Matt, I can imagine that most of the guys that you played with would have felt exactly the same way about the turf specifically. But when it came to going to Little Rock, how did your teammates view going to Little Rock? And I'd say that's independent of the ones who are from Little Rock and view it as a homecoming of sorts. But did anybody complain about it? Did they view it as a road game, or was this an idea like, hey, you know what? We get to go to Little Rock, and this is a unique atmosphere.
Absolutely loved it. It's the best home field advantage in the state. I want to say Coach Nutt maybe lost 2 games ever coaching down in Little Rock. I think my 4 years there, I think we lost 1. We absolutely love playing in Little Rock. The fans, they're crazy down there. It's just the environment. They don't get a game. They don't get 8 home games each year, and so when they get that one, man, they go crazy. They go bananas. And we absolutely love. We felt like it was advantage Arkansas anytime we played a team in Little Rock.
Well, there's going to be an advantage, no doubt. But you were used to playing at least a couple conference games at War Memorial.
We played
right?
Mississippi State my freshman year. No, sorry. South Carolina my freshman year. LSU my senior year. Maybe LSU my sophomore year. And I'm trying to think. I think we played Troy. We played UNLV my freshman year. We played Troy my junior year, I believe. So, yeah, we played 1 or 2 games. It seemed like we Lou Holtz, South Carolina, Lou Holtz Coach Nutt before he transferred to Oklahoma State. And so he wanted that game. And Carlos Hall blocks a field goal. We win by 2 points or something. Talk about just a great environment.
Was that your freshman
win.
year?
Freshman year.
I think I was. See, that's when I lived at the corner of Tyler and B Streets, like 2 blocks away from the stadium, and would park the cars in my lot. I was making $15,000 a year, so $15 to $20 a car was a big deal. But that's when I sat out there, just sat there on a chair, drinking a beer and listening to Paul do the game and listening to the roar of the crowd. And I remember the roar of the crowd from that block punt. I remember that. That was for me, and that was my first year living in Arkansas. I'm going on year number 24 now. So that was a welcome to Arkansas moment. And going to games there too was also for me a welcome to Arkansas moment, because I was used for a team like I grew up rooting for the Pitt Panthers. They played all their games in the one stadium at Pitt Stadium. I think every once in a while they played a big game against either West Virginia or I think Penn State. They play that at Three Rivers. But you basically knew where all the games were going to be played. And I think you know where all the games are going to be played after next year. At least that's the way that it feels. Sam Pittman did address this yesterday, and man, he got to the topic before anybody had a chance to ask him a question about it. So he knew it would be a topic, and he addressed it very quickly.
We're excited to go to Little Rock and take our football team. Our team is not looking at this as, we have to go play in Little Rock. We're looking at it as an opportunity to take the team on the road and have a great opening game in the great city of Little Rock.
You can see how the coach feels about it. I think Brett Bielema felt about it the same way. You're getting on a bus, you're traveling, it's a road game. It will be a home game when you look at the schedule. It will be a home game, I think, according to the NCAA, and to the folks that are at the game, it'll feel like a home game as well. But when you travel 2.5 hours, that's a road game for those who are doing the traveling. That's the topic that comes up every time Arkansas plays at War Memorial. We'll do this all over again next year when it's a different situation, unique, playing an FBS school that's from inside the state in Arkansas State. But it felt like Coach Pittman knew it would come up. He addressed it very quickly and moved on to some of the other things that probably have a little bit more importance based upon the idea of this season specifically and some of the important guys. And Matt, the top wide receiver for Arkansas right now, Andrew Armstrong, he's questionable depending on how he looked yesterday and how he's going to look today. WR1 may not be available.
Probably the only one would be Armstrong, left, whether he's practiced every day, but whether he is full speed or not, we'll have to wait probably until Thursday night to find that out. But he has practiced every day and just hasn't really practiced a complete practice. So we'll see where he is after today.
It's a hamstring thing. So, when it comes to a hamstring injury, it's the same way I felt about like Broden's toe injury, the turf toe. Sometimes those things linger. It takes a long time to heal, and it ends up being the kind of thing you deal with all throughout the season. Hamstring might be a little different than the toe, but I wonder about his availability for Thursday, and also the idea of how important it is for him to get out there and play. There is an importance level, independent of the opponent, Matt, for the guy who's expected to be your top wide receiver to get out there and see what you can do working with his quarterback against an opponent for the first time. So there is some importance to that.
Yeah, there definitely is. I say the number one priority, though, is health for this first game. If you're playing Oklahoma State game one and then it was reversed where you're playing UAPB, maybe you trot him out there and knowing you get a little extra time off. If there's any question, if Andrew Armstrong's hamstring is not 100%, he's absolutely not playing. There's no 100. If he is not healthy to go, I don't even give him a uniform. He's going to be in street clothes because we need Andrew Armstrong September 7th. Well, that might be the same idea for some of the other guys that are dealing with some nagging injuries that have kept them out of practice for a chunk of preseason camp. But getting them ready for that Oklahoma State game, top of the list. The other thing, too, it's like, all right, well, if you're playing on turf, and it's the one game that you're scheduled to play on turf this year, if there's a lower body injury, now, Matt, I know that's the kind of surface that can aggravate those injuries even worse. So maybe there's another reason for not getting WR1 out there. And we already know Patrick Kudus won't be available because I think they talked about an MRI on Friday. So the game is Thursday, so you know exactly who's going to be at left guard, which is going to be Amarian Harris, who Sam Pittman had some really good things to say about yesterday during his weekly presser, and something that we'll also hit on later on in the show here today. Here's halftime for this Tuesday. We've got Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio in the third hour. In the second hour, we'll bring in Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation, and Dudley Dawson stops by halftime in just a moment. But I have plenty of time for calls and texts all throughout halftime today. You can get them in right now at 877-377-6963. So stay with us. It's Dudley Dawson from Hogville right after this on halftime.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
This is halftime.
See, what every long shot come from behind underdog will tell you is this. The other guy may in fact be the favorite. The odds may be stacked against you, fair enough. But what the odds don't know is this isn't a math test. This is a completely different kind of test. One where passion has a funny way of trumping logic.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between two thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adventure Dave will be attempting his greatest stunt yet. He will jump over 100 boats, ATVs, cars, and trucks, all at Adventure Oklahoma in Roland, brought to you by Auto Finders. Here he comes now. Adventure Dave, why did you choose Adventure Oklahoma for this stunt?
Well, Tom, Adventure Oklahoma is your one-stop shop for adventure. Plus, no one else would let me jump over their boats and ATVs.
It's the All Cylinders sales event going on right now. Rebates up to $3,000 and financing as low as 0.99% on select CF Moto side-by-sides and ATVs. With approved credit, visit cfmotousa.com. CF Moto, ride without compromise.
That's right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with Destiny.
Yes, and what a jump it will be.
No, the jump is tomorrow. This is Destiny.
See y'all later. Well, until then, visit Adventure Oklahoma in Roland, brought to you by Auto Finders. AutoFindersOK.com.
Your journey starts here.
CF Moto cares about your safety, so read your owner's manual before operating and be sure to ask us about rider training.
This is Daryl Johnston with Hashtag Managed IT Services. We are excited to now be part of AAA Business Systems. Hashtag will continue to handle every IT need your business will have, and now, as part of AAA Business Systems, we can handle all of your document printing and storage solutions. Together, we have the expertise to meet all of your office technology needs. Find us online at aaabm.com or call us at 471-1771.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
When I go out to eat, I want something fresh. I don't want something that's been sitting in a freezer or processed. When I go to Lily Sandwich Shop, I am satisfied to the max. That's because Josefa makes everything fresh and uses that River Valley farm fresh produce during our long growing season. Stop by Lily Sandwich Shop in the Bakery District and become another satisfied customer. The sandwiches speak for themselves.
My name is Lily. My Baba makes the best sandwiches at Lily Sandwich Shop. Come by and see them at the Bakery District today.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Well, guys, it's a really critical year for us. I mean, it is. It's a big year for us, and I just wanted to keep as much as we could everything in-house. In all honesty, a lot of times from our observing practice, there's some information that I don't want out that gets out. And it's just a big year, and that's no negative towards anybody. It's just human nature. So-and-so's not starting today. You know, they moved this guy to this. And, you know, I'm not saying you can't find that out anyway, because I mean, we can call people, right? But it's a big year for us, and we just wanted to keep everything in-house as much as we possibly could. Now,
Sam Pittman at the presser yesterday. We bring Dudley Dawson on from Hogville.net. And Dudley, I was thinking to myself, it sounds like Sam Pittman doesn't trust who's covering the team to hold on to some. Not like he's got to trust them to hold on to some things, but I wonder what you gleaned from that. If it's a matter of this is a more important season than any other season, what do you think?
Well, I think a couple of things came to mind when I heard him say that. You know, I knew it was coming because they'd kind of, prepared us for it. You know, I'm a journalist, and you know, I always want to be on a scene and be able to get everything I can. I mean, that's just the way I work, and it's been important over the course of 43 years, I guess now I've been up here, that we have been a conduit to the fans. There are a lot of different things that go into it now. They basically have their own news service or sports service over there with the Hogs Plus now, so that factors into some things.
You can call it propaganda if you want. It's okay.
Yeah. Do get the fact that he ascertains how big a year it's for him. There's nobody who disagrees with that. I think the 20 minutes in the fastball stuff that they did, would have been good enough. But I get it. But you hate to see it because that's the next step down the line to nothing.
Right, and that's the thing. So I think some people frame this in a way that, the media is all upset that they don't get access to this and that. And I don't really view it that way, because it's exactly what you said. Media is a go-between between the subject that's being covered and those who are interested in that subject. So, does this hurt the fan in any way for information, or is it just a matter of you guys got to find another way to get the information?
Yeah, well, I think that, fans, when they are happy and a team is winning, they are usually happy with the media. My now 33-year-old son always knew that when Arkansas lost a football game or a basketball game and we would go out to eat when they were young, that people would come up and somehow it'd be the media's fault. So it's again, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We want to do our job the best that we can, and especially the guys who are there every day, that are really embedded, so to speak, with the team. You hate it, but as Coach Pittman acknowledged there, we always have people who, if you've been done things fair over the years and who you can talk to and what you can glean from them and what you can get out of there, I think most of this has to do with injuries and stuff.
Hey, Dudley, with this first game on Thursday, what are we trying to use the word of the day? What are we trying to glean from this UAPB game? What's something on the offensive side and something on the defensive side of the ball that you want to see or that you hope the Hogs accomplish in this first game?
Well, you being a quarterback, you know that how important that offensive line was last year. It wasn't last year, and there were some talented guys on that offensive line, but it didn't mesh. I'm looking to see if this new combination will mesh. I'm excited to see what Marion Harris, who has always had the potential there, is going to be able to bring to the offensive line, the cohesiveness. Because again, growing up in Newport and playing for Bill Key, we ran the ball and stopped the run, and that was the thing. And that didn't happen last year here well enough, and you're going to have to be able to do that. So that's the biggest thing I'm looking to get from the offense. And the defense, man, they lost a lot of linebackers, brought a lot in here. So I'm anxious to see how that plays, because great linebackers, or at least linebackers who make plays, help the front and help the back.
Last year in the opener against Western Carolina, you look at the final score and be like, well, they did what they needed to do with them, 56-13, but they averaged under 3 yards a carry, and it wasn't because of sacks. That was the first hint during the season, because we got hints in the off season from people that did watch spring ball and did watch practice that the offensive line was going to be a problem. I want to make sure that this team can run the ball against an FCS team. I don't want even to say that in an insulting way, because they didn't run it with success against an FCS team last year, and then you couldn't run it against anybody.
Yeah, and little did we know that they all hated each other over there. That's how things were going to turn out. Hate's maybe a bad word, but they were not pleased with the NIL and each other and who was getting what and all that. The coaching staff and players were at it. As the season went along, we knew about that. It does appear at least that's probably not going to be a problem this year. So that helps you step up in the first game or not. But you're right. I have all the respect in the world for Coach Hampton, and the lineage that he comes from, and the fact that he's taken on a consequence or a monumental job here at UAPB. 2-9 last year, had a good win there at the end of the season. That kind of spurred him in the off season. But man, if you don't go out and just look fantastic, then we know that if you're these betting services, that big money is going to be on Oklahoma State for sure the next week, because they have got to show that they're more cohesive, that the execution's there. And let's be honest about one thing. Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator, but he's always run a tight ship on the field, and I'm anxious to see more of that than what I saw last year, when it was just I keep using the word cluster. So.
Hey, I'm Dudley. I'm interested to see the 28-year-old freshman, and then also are there any other newcomers, or what about that freshman running back? If Dubinion's going to be down, is he going to get to play? What is there a newcomer or freshman that you're excited to see Thursday?
I think so. It's maybe not be the most out there choice, but Taylon Green. Let's see what he can do. I've watched a lot of tape, or I guess video, I should say now, on him from Boise State. There was a lot of potential there. He had plays where he was fantastic. He had others where he was, looked like he was lost a little bit on his reads and what he was going on. But, he's got a great quarterback coach there. So I'm really anxious to see where that is, because this is the first time in a long time that KJ Jefferson hadn't been under center, or somebody who was a wide receiver moving the quarterback, or vice versa, is under center. So I'm kind of anxious to see what they've got there at that, because let's be honest again, they've got some decent guys behind him, but Taylon Green has to have a good year for this football program to have a decent year.
Do you view Green as a 2-year project? I'm not making any predictions he's going to win the Heisman Trophy next year. But just looking at the last two really successful, LSU quarterbacks, Joe Burrow had a good year his first year before turning into a world-beating Heisman winner the second season. It was the same with Jaden Daniels last year. They had things to work on. Daniels obviously did. The more I think about Taylon Green and his athletic abilities, I feel like this is still a project. Now, nobody's going to be a finished product in college, but it does feel like this is kind of a 2-year project to me.
I totally agree, and that's why I throw out the word potential, which is either a great word or a bad word, depending on whether you realized it or not. Again, I see things, and when I first saw his video, I thought raw. When he got here in spring, I saw some good things. So he made a step forward, and I'm anxious to see how a quarterback coach that is in line with him, that this is the guy he wanted, how he will improve. I was utter shock when I heard that there were 8 interceptions in one scrimmage, but it turns out that there were only a couple of them were his and one was tipped. But we all know how important quarterbacks are and how in running an offense. There's a lot of different guys over there. There are going to be 89 different players that weren't on the UAPB and Arkansas team last year. How are we supposed to predict how that's all going to play out when you get 89 new guys?
Well, they did a great job predicting that Florida State-Georgia Tech game. They went out there, and I think all the pundits had FSU by a lot, and you saw the madness that is college football. Dudley, looking around the SEC with A&M in Notre Dame, LSU and Southern Cal, Florida, Miami. What's the chances that the SEC can go 3-0 in those games? Are there one of those games you're looking forward to?
All right, I'm looking forward to all three of them, but I really, the LSU game I think is going to be a toss up there that sways it one way or the other. But let's be, that the narrative after this weekend, if they go 3-0, is the SEC is it. The SEC is it. If they don't go 3-0, all the other conferences and the football fans and the narrative around the country is going to be, the SEC isn't going to be that good this year. They had 16 teams, but a bunch of them aren't any good. So.
My expectation is we don't know what to expect, more so than in any season in college football history. This used to be a very formulaic sport. Chalky, I think, is how we call it. And I'm not saying that, Georgia doesn't deserve to be number one. And, Texas, I think they've got an opportunity to do something special this year, their first year in the SEC. But
could they be back?
Well, but Dudley, our whole point for how we go about our predictions is to look at what happened last year and then project forward based on who's not there any longer and who you got. And, football's a funny sport in terms of chemistry, maybe more so than a lot of the other sports, just trying to fit 22 guys on the field to work together. I just feel like this year is I don't know if I'd say it's a one-off because it'll feel the same as long as the portal is open the way that it is. I don't think anybody knows what to expect. And those who tell you they do, I think they're really just guessing.
Yeah, and I give credit to people who are jumping out there and making their picks and saying what they think the prediction record's going to be. If I were to make one, I'd say, please allow me to come back in a couple of weeks after I watch these first 2 games and tell you what I think. Because again, it's free agency in college athletics now. It's you could, as you mentioned, the chemistry is a deal, and then another thing is situations, game plans, where you're playing at is all going to factor in there. We all know how bad Arkansas was last year overall, 4-8, and then you look back and somebody will tell you, well, but they had 5 games where it was a touchdown or less. Well, they still lost. You got to win. And can these guys under Coach Pittman, Coach Petrino, and the rest of the staff, can they find ways to win early instead of finding ways to lose as they did last year?
Dudley, let's leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on. It's always fun talking with you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Anytime, man.
Thanks, Dudley.
If you want to react, the hotline's open right now, 877-377-6963. We'll be right back after this.
They were so convincing in their argument. They swung me.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Football, finally. And at the All-American Steakhouse and Sports Theater, they've got you covered. Not only do they have 10 screens for the best viewing around, they're giving away pint glasses while supplies last during Arkansas games and Sunday NFL games. Of course, they'll have game time specials for both, but during the Arkansas games, pick up your SEC pint glass with the NFL Sunday ticket. You can get a glass with the All-American Steakhouse logo on. Why go anywhere else at game time? We'll see you at the All-American Steakhouse and Sports Theater on Sunset in Springdale.
Hi, everybody. Larry Rath here, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. It's August, it's hot, and it's time to flip the lot. So we're giving you the best we got. Save up to $6,000 on red tag clearance prices on a fantastic selection of road-ready certified used cars with warranty. Plus up to $2,000 extra for your trade and no payments for 90 days. They've all got to go, right down to the bare asphalt. Get a great deal on a great car now and help us flip the lot. All the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath.
When I need a place to stay in Northwest Arkansas, I always choose the Inn at the Mill. It's centrally located in the heart of NWA at the Johnson exit off I-49 and is the most unique choice of hotels in the region. Whether you're in town for the game, a concert at the Amp, business travel, or just a weekend away, the Inn at the Mill has a spacious, clean room ready for you. Reserve your stay at the Inn at the Mill, 479-443-1800, or visit innatthemill.com. The Inn at the Mill, where the past meets the present.
Work now, pay later. With sizzling savings at WT Equipment. No money down, no interest, and no payments until 2025 on select New Holland equipment. Choose 0 for 60 or up to 10,000 cash back, plus free net wrap on roll belt round balers. 0 for 72 or up to 10,000 cash back on mid-range tractors. Or 0 for 72 plus an additional 2,000 cash back on a new compact. Work smarter with no money down, no interest, and no payments on your choice of the summer's hottest deals. At WT Equipment, your partner in progress.
Are you ready to work for one of
of the area's premier companies? If so, Forsgren wants to offer you a rewarding new career. Forsgren has been building the foundation of the River Valley for over 80 years. Forsgren is recruiting for experienced concrete finishers, equipment operators, truck drivers, and laborers. Forsgren is a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence. Join the Forsgren legacy. Apply now on any device, anywhere at goforsgren.com. That's goforsgren.com. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the host. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Go right to our hotline. We got Juwan, who's dialed us up from Fayetteville, 877-377-6963. Good morning, Juwan. Always good to hear from you. What's up?
Doing well this morning, Phil. I'm excited. 2 days away from kickoff, man. So
that's right. You can feel it, right?
We're gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I felt it last Saturday watching Georgia take Florida State.
I felt it too watching that. I also felt, hey, if this game's outcome, let's take that and let's take it to this season for Arkansas, because I don't remember what the betting line was, but I know Florida State was a heavy favorite. And I know that most of the pundits across the country are picking Arkansas to win one or two SEC games. And it even feels the way that they write about some of those games, that they're trying to be nice and trying to be charitable. So I'd like to see that fly in the face of those predictions too.
I think that's completely crazy to think Arkansas can only win one or two conference games this year. I look at the defense. We jumped 99 spots in our first season with Travis Williams on defense. It's just crazy to think that we won't be a better and more improved defense from one year to another. If we jump 99 spots in one season, we can only go up from there. And if our offense can score points this season, I don't see how we don't win more games than last year. We're the only team that held Alabama to 0 points in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
We played against Jaden Daniels and LSU, where we lose that game by 3 points.
That's right.
So we have a lot coming into this season to work with, that people just aren't giving us any credit just because of how the season went last year. But Arkansas, we got tools in the shed.
Well, and again, it's like looking at last year's defense, and I guess you can look at last year's defense differently than you look at last year's offense, because you got the same coaching staff back there. You get the same coordinator. You have many of the same guys on the defensive line. Linebacker room's completely different. Secondary is kind of mixed up, but maybe I guess you could make more of a comparison for the defense from one year to this year, because you expect you're running the same schemes. And look, I mean, Matt, you've touched on this too. Like, if you were looking at the maybe success wouldn't be the right word, but just the way they ran their units. Defense was way ahead of offense last year, and you just needed to catch up with it right now.
Yeah, you're hoping, and I think Dudley brought this up, that they hit, and the coaches have said, but what are they going to say? They're going to say, we haven't hit on our players, but you're hoping they hit on their players, and it'd come back down to it again. I think Phil and Juwan will have 5 or 6 of these games. They'll be one-score games. That's just what it is. That's just the nature of the game. And how can you be in those 6 one-score games? Can you be 500 in those games? Can you have a winning record? That'll kind of tell you how the season's going to go.
Well, I think everybody has a lot to prove. Everybody has a new coaching staff in the SEC. Well, not everybody, but a lot of teams. Alabama, a new offensive and defensive coordinator along with the head coach. LSU has a new defensive coordinator. They were horrible on defense last year.
A&M.
They're going to improve or stay the same. A&M has
First
Mike
SEC
Elko
team you're
there.
saying has a new offensive coordinator, and even though he brought in a guy from Ole Miss to do it, we know it's
Hugh
Freeze.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Phil. Hugh Freeze is calling the plays again.
So I'm interested. I don't think anybody's a for sure lock to win the SEC. I don't even think Georgia is. I think Georgia's good, but I'm taking Clemson Saturday to beat them. Clemson has a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of people who've been in the program for a while. They bought into Dabo Swinney's philosophy, so they've stayed. They haven't been in the transfer portal. Kate Klubnik, he's going to be an upperclassman. I think he's going to improve. I think Georgia's in for a game.
You know, I mean, that's one program where you can look at the year before. Clemson, I don't know how many players they've brought out of the transfer portal, but I know it isn't many, if any at all. So that's one team you can look from one year to the next and say, well, this guy gets better, that guy gets better, because they're pretty much, well, I guess they don't all stay, but they don't build that program through the portal at all. Juwan, it's good to hear from you, man. I appreciate that. 877-377-6963. Florida State was a 10.5-point favorite, according to Andy in Mountain Home. So already A&M is a 10.5-point favorite against Arkansas, Matt. There it is. It's 5 games off. Do I have an Auburn line yet? Doesn't look like they've got the line out on the Auburn game yet. Looking at Bet Saracen or the Texas game yet. They do have LSU favored by 9.5 over Arkansas for a game that isn't played until October the 19th. So, but I mean, you have to expect this, right? Arkansas is going to be a heavy underdog against Oklahoma State. I could legitimately see Arkansas being a double-digit underdog there. They'll be favored against UAB. They'll be dogs on the road against Auburn. We already know they're underdogs against A&M, just based on the idea of how difficult the home schedule is this year. Matt, do you realize Arkansas is going to be an underdog for every single SEC home game they have? In fact, if you look at the games they're playing in Fayetteville this year, the only games they'll be favored are against Alabama, Birmingham, and La Tech. It's kind of wild to think about this. Almost any win that Arkansas gets. You go to Starkville this year, so probably an underdog there. So much of it is based upon what's happened the few weeks before, of course. But if I'm looking at this, I think Arkansas is going to be an underdog in every SEC game. I don't think they're going to lose every SEC game, but the bettors do.
Hey, it's time to go out there and shock the world. There's nobody that's outside the locker room that believes in you. You know, the only people that believe in this University of Arkansas team are the players, the coaches, the parents of those players, and some fans that are in-state fans. Nobody else in this world believes that Arkansas is going to be any good this year. Let's go get it. I mean, where else do you want to be? Let's put a chip on your shoulder and go to work.
That was Sam Pittman's point, I think, when he looked at that. And he's been talking about this recently from the 9-win season, that nobody saw that coming. I wonder if he saw it coming either, too. I mean, that was about as surprising of a year as we've seen. But nobody did see that coming. And nobody, I don't think anybody is seeing ahead, projecting ahead, outside of, I think, members of the media inside the state of Arkansas and some fans who are choosing to be optimistic about this. This is the same kind of thing as 2021. You know, Sam, the year before, raised the program out of the ashes with a 3-win season all against SEC teams from the year before, and just one SEC win would have kind of brought it out of the dumpster fire that it had been. But nobody saw the kind of year that they were about to have the next season. The difference is that your main non-conference game that year was against the Texas team that you played in Fayetteville, and they were in the first year under Sark, and they didn't look ready to battle on the line of scrimmage. And this year, your non-conference game is on the road against a battle-tested team that brings most of their players back in Stillwater. So I see that as different. And the home schedule this year, too. I mean, you pointed out, Matt, you got to win your home games, but this is as daunting of a home schedule as I think you could have.
Well, you don't have to worry about Alabama, and you don't have to worry about Georgia. A lot of people have those as 1 and 2. I guess, is Texas considered the second best team in the SEC this in their first year? So you get them, but Georgia and Alabama, I mean, two teams that are expected to be in the playoffs off your schedule. Tennessee's going to be tough, no question about it. How is Ole Miss November 2nd? Yeah, I mean, you got to think LSU, the talent they have, that they'll get it fixed out on the defensive side of the ball. It's man, they're all you start saying it out loud and you start looking at it, man. They're all going to be tough ones.
We got a text here from Seth in Rogers with this would be the most obvious text of the day. Bad teams tend to be underdogs in a lot of games across any sport. Nobody knows what this team is going to look like by the time they play LSU. That's October the 19th. The record is 0-0 right now. They haven't played it down against anybody. So right now, they're not a bad team, and LSU is not a good team. Nobody knows about this. That's my whole point about guesswork. And these lines that are being laid down, it's all guesswork, just like 10.5 for Georgia Tech against Florida State. So maybe they will be a bad team, but you don't know that now. You don't know that now. And those who tell me they know that, you don't. You're guessing. You're guessing. And don't call it realism, because it's really called skepticism. That's all it is. Andy in Mountain Home says 0 transfers for Clemson. Again, they did it again. No surprise. So, yeah.
Was there a DN from Parkview? I believe we got. I haven't been able to see the names, and we don't get to see a lot of practice. But he's a freshman, and then is it Braylon Russell? Is he the other? Mm-hmm. The other kid that's a freshman, and then Monty Harrison. Those would be the three guys that are newcomers. Is there who's one of our safeties? Is it a Metcalf? Don't we have twins, or there's brothers that are on?
TJ and Tevis. They're both going to play.
So those are a couple
Tevis
guys.
Is the freshman.
That's on the defensive side. I want to see how they play. But you're right. We haven't seen anything yet, but those are some guys that I want to see. That's who I'll be looking for at this first UAPB game.
Well, you want to see also what to project about who can really grow into an impressive role as either a freshman or a sophomore, and then also just like the idea of keeping your players here. Well, for the next season, who can grow into a really important role the next year afterwards. Braylon Russell, yes, definitely one of the guys that you brought up there. I was thinking the other end that you might be interested in, I think, is Charlie Collins. Now, he went to Mills.
Mills, there you
go.
Yeah, that's the kid that I want to see. I know we had Danny West on, and he raved about him. Both those kids, Braylon Russell and the kid from Mills, and it's kind of when they start making plays, Phil, then you learn their number, you learn their name, and you're able to talk about them. So I'm ready for those kids to make a couple plays.
That's right. Number first, name second. Number first, position second, name third.
And maybe it's your high school town first sometimes. It's where'd you go? Where are you from? When Joe Ferguson, when I'd be at camp up there, he'd be like, Van Buren, come here, Van Buren.
Now, how long did they refer to you as Van Buren before they just started calling you MJ or Matt?
There you go. Well, Ferguson, I was a ninth grader going into a sophomore year, and I don't know how much longer Joe Ferguson stayed there, but that was the Coach Nutt staff, and man, Gary Brashears was the number 2 quarterback. I think Phil Sims' son was the number 1 quarterback. Gary Brashears was the number 2 quarterback. I got to room with him. I played AAU ball with Finley. That was it was his brother, and so that was just a neat experience. And it's so funny. I was talking with him there, and he had an Oasis CD, and I was like, "Can I get?" Because the band just got back together, So it's
they did.
That's
the brothers kissed and made up.
$50 million a year to do it. I think that'll help, right?
That's worth a kiss.
Yeah, it's worth a kiss. And but I remember that Champagne Supernova album was out, and that was it was just cool memories.
I got called Pittsburgh all the time. Nobody's called me that for a long time.
Your boy called you Philly too the other day from
and that one's all right
Yeah.
because it's my name. It's just not where I'm from.
Yeah.
Now, I went my first 2 years of school was at Indiana, so that first summer working for a minor league baseball team, that's all they called me. It's the only year that I was ever called anything that wasn't Pittsburgh, if you were referring to where I'm from. But it's like I would go talk to some coaches for the other teams that were coming in that might have played for the Pirates. Orlando Merced, for those who remember 1990s baseball. Merced was a coach for the Tulsa Drillers. I went up and it was like, hey, man, I remember watching you play in Three Rivers and all this, and remember this game and that game, and he was nice. But every time they would come through town and I would drop the lineups off, what would I hear when I go into the Tulsa locker room? Hey, Pittsburgh, what's up? Just like that. Just like that. It's okay, too, if you really want to refer to me as that. It's been like 25 years since that was my city that I lived in, but I'll take it. And go with Little Rock, too. But that's actually 2 words. Let's just stick with one. 877-377-6963. I guess we have to play something by Oasis when we come back. How about that?
Let's do it.
Stay with Halftime. Back to wrap up the first hour next.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
This is Halftime.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
Nothing says summer fun like fishing with a Thill Bobber with the family. America's favorite floats by Thill are available in a variety of sizes and colors. These premium balsa wood floats are made by the thousands at Pradco in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They are great at detecting the slightest bites by fish and work great in tandem with crickets and redworms. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. America's favorite floats by Thill.
The spring allergy and hay fever seasons are here, and Law's Drugstore has what you need to safely take care of you and your family. Law's Drugstore can fill and refill your prescriptions, and they have all of the over-the-counter allergy remedies to provide comfort. Call 452-6116 and ask about vaccine shot appointment for shingles, pneumonia, COVID, and whooping cough. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind the Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Z Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Hey, Ty Richards.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the preseason NFL to college kicking off, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Think you know your stuff? Try our winner-take-all $300,000 NFL Survivor Pool for the upcoming season. When the game is over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today and use promo code BELIEVE and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Collin Ray Drive into Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and
So sheets to the ground. Just wanna if it's a water tap. Baby, I just wanna breathe. Baby, I just wanna breathe. Baby, you're the same as me. We think things out of the sea.
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Wow, how do you like that? How do you like that, Matt, Liam, and the bro have gotten back together. Liam, Noah are
Liam
friends
and
again.
Noel. It's like which one's pink? You know, if you saw both of them, do you know? It's like
They look I mean, they're identical, but they're not twins.
Yeah.
So does this mean Fleetwood Mac could get everybody back together again?
Ooh,
the
man.
Eagles got back together. They said hell would have to freeze over.
Yeah, that's a good tour right there.
Maybe Led Zeppelin can't get all the way back together, but maybe they could get John Paul Jones. You know, when Jimmy Page was allowed to go do MTV Unplugged, and it was Robert Plant did MTV Unplugged, brought Jimmy Page with him, and they did not invite John Paul Jones, right? And he noticed that. These bands, I guess, can get back together at some point.
It'd be, I've seen the documentaries and all the stuff, but I think 50 million that helps kind of heal time, and 50 million
the ego.
Yeah. I mean, talk about two guys. I mean, just egocentric. I mean, they had a little time period but they're rock and rollers. I mean, that's it. They're rock and roll stars.
I mean, what kind of a rock and roll story is everybody loving each
Kumbaya,
other and holding hands and singing Kumbaya together?
Right.
Because Kumbaya is not a rock and roll song. I don't really think you could. There's no good beat to it. It just wouldn't work. That also means the Beatles eventually could have gotten back together, if not for the assassination. That really could have happened then. The difference is, it's funny because I think didn't Oasis at one point refer to themselves as the new Beatles, or they tried to?
And John Lennon said they were bigger than Jesus. Same concept. Yeah, they said they're the biggest band in the world.
The thing is like the Beatles wouldn't have needed the extra 50 million. Oasis by now probably does. If there would be a group of musicians, you look back on things and think, which group of musicians could have said no to $50 million to get back together? I think the Beatles would have been that group. Can't think of anyone else. Neil Young with Crosby, Stills, and Nash potentially.
The Stones stayed together. You know, that's kind of the test of time. Zeppelin, pretty much. What I know, they lost a drummer. Did they lose two drummers? They lost one.
Well, they lost one to drinking too much. That was John Bonham.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was what happened with the second one.
And then the Who, and then you look at bands like the Smashing Pumpkins, where the four main characters, then it's maybe two of the main characters, and they just start kind of adding.
Chili Peppers have stayed together with the exception of
John
one
Frusciante
guitarist.
and Dave Navarro that kind of went back and forth. Yeah.
Pearl Jam stays together, Matt. But you
That's
already
my
knew
favorite,
that.
all-time favorite.
You celebrate their entire catalog.
Play
as long as
Jeremy.
you don't have to listen to that catalog.
Play Jeremy.
877-377-6963 as we get into our second hour. We'll be talking with Alyssa Orange from Pig Troll Nation, but an open segment coming up. Back after the top of the hour.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
In Arkansas, 7 out of every $10 placed on a sporting bet app is with Bet Saracen, because Bet Saracen offers more ways to win and more ways to get paid, and faster. Find your winners on Bet Saracen and look for my R prop bet specials. I pick them and you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
COP CDL Academy is a licensed Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration that provides the federal required training to obtain both Class A and Class B CDL licenses. Our program provides assistance with employment after graduation. We have finance and grant options available. Students straight out of class have started new careers earning $70,000 to $140,000 per year, and training is provided for all 50 states. Call today, 479-632-1050. COP CDL Academy.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Today is the day. After countless hours of research, cutting back expenses, and 9 months of anxiously waiting for her, today is the day you finally bring home your new car. It's also the day to protect her with an auto policy from Shelter Insurance. Our policies are competitively priced and include new car replacement coverage if anything were to happen to your new baby.
See Agent Chris Dooley in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine, a high this afternoon, mid to upper 90s. Later on tonight, clear to partly cloudy and overnight low in the low 70s. Wednesday, a bounty of sunshine, a high near 95. And Thursday, just a slight chance of showers to start into middle 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Green Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 2 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Streaming on hitthatline.com.
You got a team in here that was respected. Smith, I'm all right. What can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah. Take it to the house.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
One Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Right after the top of the hour, 1 minute after 12, Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston, the Seaburger Movie Unit with you here on ESPN Arkansas, the Hit That Line Now app. If you haven't downloaded that, download it. It's where you can listen to all of your favorite shows, which will include the Sam Pittman live radio show, which airs tonight at 7 o'clock. Let's see. We've got new captains each week for Arkansas football, Matt. I wanted to get your opinion on this. For a team that has so many different faces showing up this year compared to the year before, maybe this does make a lot of sense. Sam Pittman touched on it yesterday.
Well,
I've changed that one too, with the portal and all that. I think naming captains this early. What we're going to do is we're going to name 4 game day captains for a while, and I don't know how long that's going to be. I think that we have too many captain-like guys on our team right now to get to 4. Let's let them play a little bit. Let's see them in adversity. Let's see who really is the leaders on a Saturday afternoon. Again, we have 39 new guys.
It's an interesting approach. It's a wait and see approach to try to see who are the leaders during the season. Because I wonder about leading off season and leading during the season, if there's any difference to that. Sam had referenced, when we face adversity against a different team, that's sometimes where leadership really shows itself. Leadership shows itself after a loss quite often, which is coming at some point down the line. So I wondered if you viewed as if there's different forms of leadership in season and off season. And Matt, what you think of what sounds like rotating captains, at least for the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I dig it. You have you're still learning how everything's going to go, and the truth is, there are players that will practice extremely well and can't translate that over to a game, and then there's players that practice okay, but then elevate when they get into a game, and then there's players that practice good and play good. So you kind of have, hey, and you don't know how it's going to go yet until you face a little adversity, and lift up your brother, don't put your brother down. So yeah, I see how you're going, and I would have to think that the 3 guys he took to SEC Media Days would probably be the first. Those are probably guys that are captains, but he said there's going to be 4 that first game, so I don't know who you add into there if it's another defensive guy, but yeah, I mean, and you kind of know, George Wilson was a leader on the team. He was there 3 years. Jeb Huckabee, a freshman of mine, he's a leader. I mean, there's just certain guys you kind of know, hey man, these are the leaders. Tony Boo is a leader that you have. Richard Smith, there were so many good. Kenny Sandlin, you just keep going down the list of guys that you kind of respect and you kind of know, and when they talk, you listen.
I really did expect that Taylor Green would be one of the captains. I mean, a quarterback usually would be a captain, even as a junior. KJ Jefferson was, but he'd already quarterbacked the team for a full year. So there's differences here. But just the way that they had talked about Green, and really the way he speaks himself, and he was up in front of the media, it felt like if you were going to default to somebody, that it would have been him. And I also expect the same on the other side, that Landon Jackson will be a defensive captain at some point. That's the same reason, not just because of his production that's going to come, but also a guy that's been around this program for 3 years and has made market improvement in his first 2 and seems to say all the right things. So, well, I guess we can put out odds as to who are the captains on a weekly basis.
The linebackers at Sorey, the kid from Georgia, you can see him, or Spence, maybe a guy that's been here. But I can see one of those guys with Landon Jackson going out there.
But I could also see where there's just it might just feel weird for a coach to name captains before the season when there's a good chance that 2 or 3 of them might be brand newcomers to this team.
And I can't believe I forgot, Phil. It's Hudson Clark. That would be your guy you'd bring out there with Landon Jackson.
Yes.
You have Armstrong if he plays, but you have your quarterback, and then whoever that is. If it could be Jaquindon Jackson if he's playing, you don't know. But Hudson Clark, he's been in the program for 5 years now. He's a leader. He knows how to play all the positions. So that's a guy that I could see being a captain as well.
Do we spend too much time wondering about captains? Does that mean very much to a team?
It's a great honor. It's the way Coach Nutt. I don't know how they do it now, Phil, but the way Coach Nutt did it was the players voted for the captain. The coaches.
I think they did the same thing last year.
Have say so. The coaches have a say so. Absolutely, but the players. So to be picked by your teammates as a captain, that's as good as it gets.
877-377-6963 if you want to hit with us here on Halftime. Charlie is up here today. Charlie, you feeling all right today? What's up?
Man, everything's good, Phil. But
Well, you just referenced yesterday he hadn't been feeling well, and I detected a clogged nasal passages. So I just
well, you detected correctly. It's been tough, but I'm starting to get back to where I need to be. I think the main thing for me, Phil, last week was just the energy level, and I just didn't have it. Well, I don't know what all your symptoms were. I know it feels like hell, or whatever you want to call it, but that was just the main thing for me. I can deal with some of the other stuff, but when the tuna ain't got no energy, it's really difficult.
I mean, it's I pick up on him, Matt, and you know this for certain because you and I were texting about it. When I had COVID, one of the symptoms is a really crappy attitude and a really awful mood too. I don't know. So maybe some of the symptoms lead to that, but I don't detect that out of Charlie. I don't know if Charlie has a bad mood.
You know what, Phil? I try not to. I think there are moments during the day that I get frustrated. I have bad moments. Those happen, but I try to take a positive approach in a situation when things aren't going well. I will say this about the captain thing, and we actually did that in high school with Coach James, who is at Conway now. He was at Bryan all those years, 7A, won all those championships. We did that there, and that was something that he did. We voted. The way we did it, though, Matt, was like we would vote for each other, but it would be every week. Like somebody would pick 4, I think, and that's how we did it. And it was an honor. You're correct. It was an honor. And if that's still how kids look at it, like you said, Phil, I don't know how it is today. I don't know. Matt's, played at the college and professional level, but I know it was still an honor for back when Matt was doing it, I'm sure. But I agree with you, Phil. I think Talon would be one of those guys. I would throw another name in there, the left tackle that they got. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Yeah, and Jaden Johnson, too, along with Clark. Some of those guys. That's who I would kind of, if you're going to say who's going to be the first 4. But I like it. I think it's a good thing if they use it the right way. A lot of good things that they're selling. Main thing is we got to win ball games. And but I will throw this out there before I get off of here, guys. Me and C Unit got to play last night. And by the way,
this is the college football video game.
Yeah, the C Unit. I knew I was going to have to be prepared before I played them. I told them, I said, look, C Unit, you can't be taking advantage of me because the Tuna's energy hadn't been all there, and I don't want you kicking my you-know-what. But it was a hell of a game. The C Unit can play. But I was able to get the dub, but I earned it, and we had a good one. C Unit can tell y'all a little bit more about it if he wants to, but I'm going to get off here. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, it was well done. Did you hear the Tuna compliment himself there? CA Sports. He said you're good, but he beat you. That's really a compliment to himself.
Yeah, I knew it would come up on the show.
What were the squads y'all went with?
I was Tulane and he was Memphis.
Oh, the Green Wave. They got the Hughes. They got that running back, huh?
AAC battle, man. That was well chosen.
That's number 1 and number 2 preseason out of the AAC, yeah.
Yeah, my receivers weren't getting open, and he's got a good defense. That's sure.
He's got very quick fingers. I've heard that about Charlie. So what's the next? When's the rematch? Is there a rematch?
Oh yeah, we'll play again. Change up the teams.
Is your pride hurt?
Not really, because he's a good player, and
well, it is being broadcast.
And I don't
tens of thousands of listeners at this very moment.
I don't dislike Charlie, so I don't mind losing to somebody that I like. I don't like to lose, but if someone's talking smack and then they beat me, that really gets under my skin.
Do you ever say that, Matt? You just lost a football and you're like, yeah, I like that guy over there. I don't mind this too much.
It's these NBA guys, man, they're all making so much money. They just want to be buddies nowadays.
That's true. That's true.
But
there used to be a whole thing about no fraternization before games. And I know you don't do that in the NFL now, but I see guys in baseball do that.
During the game, man, I try to win, but once it's over, it's over.
I want to see CA Sports game face, his college football game face. It's radio, so you can stand under the microphone and give your best Bobby Knight weird grin if you wanted to.
CA Sports, it's in the game.
CA Sports, yes, his 4th nickname here on the show.
I won the one that mattered, the one that really truly mattered.
Is that by aggregate? We
That's right.
it hasn't started yet. We still got it's a home and
The
home
one
series.
against Zach Arns is
It was
the one
really
that
it
mattered.
was really just week 1 of a 16-week schedule. The final score will be 3,822.
It's like a gin rummy score.
Exactly. Best Tex-Mex, better service, Joe's Grill and Cantina. Get over there today because it's Taco Tuesday. $1 crispy tacos all day long. That's beef or chicken tacos. You get the pork carnita tacos for $2.95, $3.95 for pork belly or brisket tacos. Never miss out on Taco Tuesday at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th across from Harps in Fort Smith. joesfortsmith.com to get an order or to look at the menu. We're going to stop and talk with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation after this break.
This is halftime. Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nuys work to give all of their patients a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5501 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farm. Now offering same-day crowns. 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crickhopper.
It's summer clearance sale time at Jelco Outdoors. Save 25% off summer casual and fishing clothing by Ariat, Rig, Hook, Wrangler, and Under Armour. Old Town kayaks and canoes, marked to cost. Save hundreds of dollars on the Old Town while they last. Archers, get ready for early bow season. Don't miss the summer clearance sale at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
The best things in life never change. They just get better, like Hardee's Original Bag, just $6.99. Loaded with fries, a drink, and 2 full-size favorites. A juicy charbroiled double cheeseburger, melty hot ham and cheese sandwich, or crispy hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Choose any 2 plus fries and a drink, all only $6.99. Hardee's Original Bag, loaded with handcrafted goodness. It's the greatest meal deal for your buck. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Well, I snuck to a window to leave her a note. Will you come me at the back of the grove? All the trees were in bloom. That's the smell in the air. We were trembling together. We were young, we were scared, yeah. True love, the fire.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at Hit That Line AR and on Facebook and Instagram at Hit That Line. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Tuesday afternoon means we get a chance to talk with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation. And Alyssa, we always appreciate your time. How are you doing today?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good, great. You watching any college football on Saturday?
That's rude.
What's rude? It's simple. It's a simple question. It is a simple question with an answer. I think the answer is yes, but I'm going to let you take it from there.
I seriously can't get away from it. I did not yet. The answer is, of course, I did. Everyone in the house wore their Florida State Seminole gear, very pumped up for the first game of the year. It started so well. Opening drive, I text my Pig Trail Nation team, and I was like, send the Natty to tally. I was pumped. And then the defense came out, and then everything else kind of fell into place. And then I didn't talk to anybody for the rest of the day. I didn't answer any texts. I think I finally, around 6 o'clock, sent out my first tweet since the game ended. And really, I didn't tweet at all during the game. I didn't put anything out there on social media, and then I finally tweeted at 6 o'clock just a picture of a beer and just said proof of life, because I hadn't spoken to anyone. And, yeah, it is, it's so funny as being a person who covers the media. We're so trained to control our emotions. You can't cheer in the press box. You're very objective. You can't really show any kind of bias. And then you watch a team that you actually, I'm a Florida State alum. I am a Giant fan. Try watching a Dodgers game with me during the playoffs or a Dolphins game. I'm a completely different person. And I have to remind myself that I can't let Florida State or Miami or the Dodgers losing ruin my day. And it takes a lot out of me so I choose not to speak to people.
Well, that's why I'm glad you said yes when I texted you this morning, asking if you're going to come up, because you knew what the first question was going to be. I
can't get rid of it. I go to work yesterday, and I'm thinking, okay, it's Monday. Everyone has gotten over it. No, Jab's here, Jab's there. We're in the morning meeting, and they're like, well, upsets happened this weekend. And I just walked out. I was like, I'm out of here. And then, of course, Mike gets asked about it on Ask Mike, and then Trey asked Sam yesterday in the press conference, hey, did you watch any college football this weekend? And, of course, Sam said yes, and, mentioned the Georgia-Florida State game, and I'm just like, I can't get away from it.
It's just amazing that the first game of the year includes a top 10 team, and they lose to a double-digit underdog. Now, do you think this means anything for the remainder of the season, or is this just a one-off thing on a Saturday, and it can happen anytime?
Yeah. Well, you're asking Florida State fan, Alyssa, and I'm going to still tell you we're going to win the ACC, and it's not a big deal. But obviously, I watched that game, and just the biggest frustration for me was not that they let a team like Georgia Tech, because quite frankly, I think maybe Georgia Tech is better than a lot of people gave them credit for heading into the season. And, I have seen Florida State lose to Georgia Tech or Boston College or Wake Forest or NC State in crazier ways over the past couple of years. And so it wasn't that kind of shock. It was the lack of swagger that I think Florida State didn't play with. And last year you had a guy at quarterback, and I don't want to spend this whole entire segment talking about Florida State, but you had Jordan Travis, who had so much pride for that Florida State name across his chest that he refused to let it down. And I didn't see much of that. I didn't see that spark, that chip, that swagger that I had seen the year before. I saw it on the Georgia Tech sideline. So, that was my biggest takeaway, was, where's the fight in this team? we'll see if they turn it around. Unfortunately, their next game is against Boston College on a Monday night, so we can't even get away from the college football spotlight. Like, they couldn't have given us an 11 o'clock Saturday game to just kind of tiptoe back into college football season quietly. No one's paying attention. No, we're going to stick them on Monday night so everyone can watch them play because it's the only game on. So maybe they'll have a better showing.
Yeah, they lacked a little energy. I think you were spot on right there, Alyssa. Georgia Tech they had a little more energy and wanted it more. I think we won't see any of that this Thursday when Arkansas plays UAPB. I think we're going to play well. There, the portal, the freshman guys. There's a lot of new faces, and I was talking with Phil earlier. Monte Harrison is a guy that I'm excited to see. And then on the defensive side of the ball, TJ Metcalf, a freshman safety. I want to see him as well. What are you excited about? Who are you looking forward to watching in that Razorback uniform this Thursday night?
Yeah, on the offensive side, I think Monte Harrison is going to be fun because of the story around him. I'm really excited, and I think that excitement rose a little bit more after I watched, because I am his wife, so I watched some Hawks Plus stuff with Saul last night that they released, and they did a segment with Jaquindon Jackson and his story, and we've heard a lot about him throughout fall camp and even in the spring, and so I'm really excited to see what he can do in the backfield because I think he's going to be the guy we see the most back there. You're going to have Rodney Hill come in a little bit, and then depending on how Rashad Dubinion is health-wise, I don't think you have to put him out there because they are playing UAPB. Let him have a little bit more rest, but we'll see. We might see him out there depending on how things go at practice, but Jaquindon Jackson's the guy I'm super excited about on the offensive side. And then the defensive side, I'm really excited just to see how the secondary plays as a whole. Like, I love that you say TJ Metcalf. I think he's a guy that no one was talking about, and now everyone is talking about, and he's still in that battle with Hudson Clark. Excited to see how that develops, but I just want to see this secondary, and I know we're not going to see it too much, but how they have grown and the new guys that they've plugged in there, and then you've got the linebackers with Xavier Story, how that defense looks, even though it is a team like UAPB. I'm excited to see what they look like.
I'm really interested to see how they're using these multi-position defensive players. So you got Larry Worth, who's listed as a linebacker on the website roster. They've got him as the second string safety behind Jaden Johnson. He may be up near the line of scrimmage. He may be hanging back just a little bit. He may drop back to cover. It's the same thing with Anthony Switzer. It's the same thing with Bradley Shaw, with Steven Dix. This is how they're utilizing the linebacker position. To me, is just really going to be fascinating. And look, you're facing a team that runs an air raid in UAPB. You're not going to face that kind of offense throughout the rest of the season. But that is one thing that I'm excited to see, because they brought in guys that look like they can play at three different levels of the defense from the linebacker position.
And that's what I think Travis Williams wanted to do. And it's a little bit of an element of a surprise because you don't know exactly, if you're an offense, where guys are going to be, who's playing exactly what position. It's a little bit of that trickery that he's brought, but he brought in the talent to do so. And so we might see more of what a Travis Williams defense is really, truly about. The blitzing we heard so much about at UCF, the flying around to the ball, just always all over the place. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a signature Travis Williams defense this year because I think he went to the portal and brought guys in who can help run the kind of defense he wants to run. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be really fun to see exactly what that looks like.
Hey, Alyssa, you get Florida, Miami, Georgia, Clemson, and Texas A&M, Notre Dame, some out-of-conference big-time games. How do you see the SEC in those matchups? You think they can find a way to go 3-0? Is Georgia on upset alert? But those are three big-time games right there.
They are. I'm really interested in how all of those games unfold. You won't find me rooting for Florida ever. And I don't hate Miami like a lot of Florida State fans do. So I'm interested to see what that matchup looks like. I think Miami wins that game. When you look at Georgia, I think Georgia can win that game, their game as well. So that's 1-1. And I'm really interested to see how Notre Dame, Texas A&M shape up. I think just off paper, I'd pick Notre Dame, but I'm really curious to see what this team looks like under Mike Elko. Like, I don't really know what to expect. I think that they can be really talented, but again, I also thought that Florida State was going to cover against Georgia Tech, so it's why you play the game, right? Ironically, we're throwing a 7-year-old's birthday party on Saturday night, so I will be in between hosting a bunch of 7-year-olds and watching college football. So,
ooh, you got anybody special showing up? You got any like mascots showing up? Is there somebody jumping out of a cake,
ice cream cake,
or can you not let the cat out of the bag because it's Tuesday?
No, there's nothing crazy like that. You know, he wanted an Olympic-themed birthday, which is kind of cool. So we're doing that. And I had thought about, maybe seeing if I could have some of the Razorbacks who won some medals come. But there's so much going on. And so if I can just pull off this party, guys, that's a win for me.
With their kids, they would love a breakdancing competition. If you're really going to have an
There's
Olympic
going to be a
theme.
dancing competition. Yeah, we've got the basketball court for some 3x3. There's a trampoline. We're going to do some relay races in the yard. It'll be fun.
Hey, last thing, because I have to bring up the Dodgers to you every time you come on. Ohtani is 9 home runs and 10 steals away from the first 50-50 season in baseball history. I think there's 30 games left. There's no way he can do that in a month, right? But it's Shohei Ohtani, so of course he can.
Yeah, right. I have learned to never underestimate Shohei Ohtani. So, you know what? If he does it, great. If he doesn't do it, hey, you're still part of that 40-40 club, and that's pretty impressive in its own right. So,
Dude,
hey, you know what? I don't care if he joins the 50-50 club. I just want a World Series championship, okay?
Is he a lock for MVP again this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Incredible.
I don't think you do 40-40 without it, truthfully.
Yeah.
Alyssa, we'll leave it there. Appreciate your time. Thank you, and good luck on the birthday party
Yeah,
on
guys,
Saturday.
thank you. Maybe I'll see you guys in Little Rock on Thursday.
I know I'll be there. All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Okay.
Got that
Okay,
right?
great. Always looking forward to it.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Alyssa Orange, Pig Trail Nation, with us each Tuesday here on Halftime. Matt, I think she handled the Florida State thing very, very well.
She didn't shy away. She didn't back down. She took off her fan glasses for a little bit, then put them back on. But yeah, I thought she handled it well.
But she's not one of those like chest pounding fans. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like when Christian, when you're playing somebody and they beat you in the game, you're like, well, I like Alyssa. She can beat me in the game.
Oh, and we have an idea. We have an idea that really should follow through, because all of the ideas that we have here on Halftime are world-beating ideas. This one actually came from Joel in Fort Smith on the text line at 877-377-6963. He wants somebody from our radio station to play EA college football every week against someone who works for a radio station that covers that week's opponent. This would be exactly like what the basketball student managers do, right? They play, the managers of Arkansas play the student managers of Tennessee leading up to that game. Didn't they win the SEC championship last year, the student manager championship?
I think the finals was between them and Vanderbilt. And so the two powerhouses in SEC basketball on the court last year and behind the scenes as well.
First things first, in order to figure out who the representative from ESPN Arkansas would be, you and I don't play this game, so we're out of it. It would have to be between Arns, Ty Richardson, and CA Sports.
Ty doesn't play it either.
He doesn't. All right, he's played Madden, so then it's down to you and Arns.
I've beaten Orange, so does that count for something?
I think we send two. I think both you Warriors, y'all could find two. You find two, and you kind of see maybe who has the better game. But get Zach in it too, and then man, it'd be tough.
It's Jules and Vincent,
oh,
right there for you, huh?
Man,
buddy. Halftime is brought to you by Crabtree RV Center in Alma, the dealership that served our listening audience in the River Valley in Northwest Arkansas for over 7 decades and 4 generations. Crabtree RV Center is going to make sure your family has the best experience. They'll help you choose the right RV for your adventures. The service and parts department is on site. You got everything you need right there at the junction of I-40 and I-49 beside the Cracker Barrel in Alma, and CrabtreeRV.com. We'll be back. More Halftime in just a moment.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is halftime.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Coke Zero Sugar. Could I be the best Coke ever? Try and taste with your ears. Hear those bubbles? Imagine them tingling on your tongue. Fizzy deliciousness. Listen to that cascading liquid. A mouth-watering waterfall. Irresistibly tasty. Zero sugar. Crisp, refreshing, and ice cold. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
AAA Business Systems is your printer, copier, and production print solutions provider. What makes AAA unique? Ricoh, Sharp, and Brother Equipment. Fast, friendly service from our office technology experts. All-inclusive service contracts, managed IT services, and 4 locations statewide. AAA Business Systems. Find us online at AAABM.com. AAA Business Systems. Anything else is just a copy.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
This is Daryl Johnston with Hashtag Managed IT Services. We are excited to now be part of AAA Business Systems. Hashtag will continue to handle every IT need your business will have, and now, as part of AAA Business Systems, we can handle all of your document printing and storage solutions. Together, we have the expertise to meet all of your office technology needs. Find us online at AAABM.com or call us at 471-1771.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
If I could change time, then I'd rearrange just to get but I couldn't find a way. So I'll settle for one day to believe in
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Matt, wouldn't you think that if the Gallagher brothers can get back together and Oasis can live a second life 15 years after they broke up, Fleetwood Mac can bring Lindsey Buckingham back into the band, right? They might not have Christy McVie any longer, but they could bring Buckingham back. Just might have to fire Stevie Nicks in order to do it, and I don't think anybody's going to do that.
I celebrate their entire catalog. Love some Fleetwood Mac.
That actually is something I believe. I know. When you say you celebrate Pearl Jam's entire catalog, I know that's not true. I know that is not
Hey,
true.
I respect the fact that they're making music.
So I brought this up at the end of the show yesterday about Danny Jansen, who did something that I just can't imagine you could do in any other sport other than baseball. So this is what happened yesterday.
Danny Jansen up on the board there wearing a Toronto Blue Jays cap. So we have to go back to that date in June when it was 0-0. We're in the second inning. Toronto is a runner at first. George Springer had struck out. Davis Schneider had taken ball 4, and the count on Danny Jansen 0-1. So they have to put that up on the board until things change and they hit for him. As we go back to the second inning of June 26. And strike number 1 as he fouls that back, and that's when the rains hit and shut down the ball game. And so we pick it up as a suspended game for game number 1. And now Danny Jansen, a month later, traded to the Boston Red Sox. And here he is behind the plate in a Red Sox uniform and ready to catch the rest of what was his at-bat. Now, the fascinating thing here is, had the count been 0-2, conceivably he could have caught his own strikeout. That would have gone into the book as his K.
Or he could have hit a home run, too, right?
So much could have happened. One strike.
Just craziness to think about. For one thing, a guy that plays for both teams in the same game is just wild to think about. Independent of the idea that this guy eventually caught his own at-bat because of this trade. And the broadcaster's right. In the rule book, if a batter is taken out of an at-bat with an 0-1 count, and the next batter ends up with 3 strikes, it's the second batter that gets the strikeout. If the batter leaves the at-bat at 0-2 and the guy who replaces him gets the next strike, it's the first batter that gets the strikeout. So in this case, if the count was 0-2, Jansen would have caught his own strikeout in that case, in which case I think he would have been given the putout and he would have been given the strikeout at the same time. I love these statistical anomalies, and there's just no other sport where this can happen. There are no suspended games in football. There are no suspended games in basketball or in hockey. I don't know of any other sport where this can actually happen. So it almost feels a little bit weird, considering that baseball trades have been a thing for over 150 years, and this is the first time it's ever happened. But it took a very weird moment. Could you imagine, Matt, like in football, you can't tackle yourself. It just doesn't work out.
It'd be like maybe Patrick Mahomes this year's. He drops back to pass. He pump fakes right, pump fakes left, and then throws it to himself. You're like,
Right.
hey, yeah, 1 for 1, 17 yards.
Well, I've seen this before. Did you ever catch your own pass before? Batted back to you?
You know, I don't know that I was ever close to that opportunity, but they teach you to bat it straight down. But if you're an athlete, try to catch it and go. But the rule is, like you're talking about this 0-1 and 0-2 rule, you can't throw it again forward. If you throw it forward, even if it doesn't go past the line of scrimmage and bats down, you can't throw it again forward, but if you throw it backwards, you can throw it again forward.
I thought it would be the idea of, like, can you suspend a NASCAR race and finish it later or like months later? Because, you think it's got to be something where weather ends up the reason why something was suspended. And I guess you can do that in a NASCAR race or any other kind of auto race. So maybe somebody could start a race and finish it in another car, but I'm only guessing about this. Just imagine, this is what the media relations coordinator for the Red Sox said, because they always give you the lineups and they give you any of the changes for a game. He actually goes onto the microphone and says, pinch hitting for Danny Jansen, Dalton Varsho. Defensive changes, Danny Jansen now at catcher, unquote. It's like, what world are we living in here? I remember a moment, and Cardinal fans might remember this, that Willie McGee, I think it was 1990, Willie McGee led the National League in batting average up until he was traded to the Oakland Athletics. And he still had the requisite plate appearances for the Cardinals to qualify for the National League batting crown. And he eventually he ended up with the highest batting average in the National League while he was a member of the Oakland Athletics. So he wasn't even playing in the National League at that point. Now, this isn't that, but it gave off some of those feelings. So it's one of the reasons I love baseball. It can be such a very, very weird sport. And I'd also brought this up to you on the phone the other day, Matt. $24.1 million was the price on an auction for the Babe Ruth called shot jersey from the 1932 World Series. $24.1 million. It is the most expensive sports memorabilia collectible in history. And the prices for these things are going higher and higher and higher based upon a process called photo matching, in which they're able to get really granular with some of these photos and be able to tell, because these jerseys were hand stitched. So on a year-to-year basis, there's going to be slight little differences, very slight little differences that you can't tell to the naked eye. But you zoom in on a photo, you can tell some of these things. So I was reading about this jersey. It's kind of wild. When Babe Ruth retired, he spent a lot of time on the golf course. Like, he wanted to be a manager. No team gave him the chance to be the manager, and there was a heartbreaking story. So he ended up on the golf course a lot. He gave a friend of his this jersey on a golf course because he must have lost that golf round, right? So the man just stuffs the jersey in a box and leaves it in his house. His daughter, years later, in the 1990s, finds this jersey in a box. And it actually says on the jersey, G.H. Ruth on the inside, George Herman Ruth. She didn't know it was the called shot jersey. She sold it a few years later, $940,000. So the person that sold it here bought it for $940,000, sold it for $24.1 million. That is a nice little profit. Did you see about Rick Pitino? His office was burglarized at the St. John's basketball office over the weekend. And he joked, he reported this on Twitter himself. He said that what was stolen off of his desk was a basketball, a bullhorn, a ceremonial sword, which I've seen in the 99.5 studios in Springdale, and other items. He said a 6-liter bottle of 1985 Petrus Pomerol wine was stolen as well. I looked this up. This stuff, and this is one of the 6-liter bottles, not the 750 milliliters. This bottle is selling right now on a website called Cask Cartel for nearly $100,000. Bottle of wine. Never going to drink that thing, right? Bottle at the Hong Kong store that I saw is selling for over $79,000. But then Pitino tweeted later he was joking about it because he would never leave a 6-liter bottle of 1985 Petrus Pomerol on his desk. I wouldn't either.
Don't even know. That's out of my depth right there. I don't even know what that is.
Let's take a phone call from Brian in Ozark, who's got something to brag about with Texas and asking something about the best backup quarterback in the SEC. Brian, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Just wondering about $24.1 million. That's all.
Right, I heard that. Got a question for you. I keep hearing, what's the Jackson kid's first name? Your running back.
Jaquindon Jackson.
Johnny Utah.
I keep hearing from a lot of people talking about how good he's going to be and he's your star running back. But this is my concern on that. He was at Texas. I don't know where he transferred to.
Utah.
He wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough to make the top 4 Of course, we had Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson.
No, Brian. He was a quarterback at Texas. He was a quarterback. So it wasn't the running back room that he couldn't break through. It was the quarterback room that he couldn't break through. And he transferred to Utah as a quarterback and became a running back while he was there. So and it didn't have anything about him not being able to break through as a running back. Texas wanted him to be a quarterback. That's what he played in high school. That's what he was going to play. But it took Kyle Whittingham and the Utah Utes to have the wherewithal to see that this big guy can run between the tackles, and we might want to switch him to quarterback or to a running back. So that was what happened with him. You could see where he was going there. He's not good enough to play running back at Texas, but he's definitely going to be good enough at Arkansas, right?
He might be starting if he would have stayed at Texas this year. With they had 3 of them go down already, he would be in the rotation. The dude's good, man. You can't hate on Ja'Kendon Jackson. I mean, the dude's a baller.
Good stuff to Bijan.
Yeah.
We'll be right back and wrap up our second hour of halftime after this. Thank you, Brian.
This is halftime.
Did you know that almost 80% of all advertising is spent on digital? This is Dale Daniels, Digital Sales Manager for ESPN Arkansas. And due to the growth in digital advertising, we have the opportunity for the right person to join our team. Digital and radio advertising go hand in hand, and we're looking for someone to help businesses grow with this powerful combination. If you have experience in broadcast and digital marketing or business development, we want to hear from you. Email your resume to sales@hitthatline.com. Pearson Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
People wonder all the time, where do I get my suits for all the weddings I go to? Rainwater's Men's Clothing and Tuxedo Rental. Rainwater's has dressed me from head to toe. So if you're renting or buying, your #1 men's clothing shop is Rainwater's. Experience the Rainwater's difference for yourself at 9700 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith or online at rainwater-s.com. When you stop by, make sure to tell Gail and his staff that Ty sent you. Rainwater's Men's Clothing and Tuxedo Rental, because it's fun to look good.
The Study Basketball Training has moved to the Hangout in Fort Smith. With basketball training classes from kindergarten through high school, there is a spot for your athlete. Depending on your skill set and training needs, the Study offers 3 class options: fundamentals, advanced, and 94 feet. You can also work on your explosiveness with Vertimax training or perfect your shot on the Dr. Dish machine. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thestudyhoops.com for more details. Fitness, sports, and now the Study Basketball Training. Let's hang out.
TGI Fridays on Rogers Avenue, Fort Smith has an incredible lineup for their meal deals. This includes crispy chicken fingers for only $9.99, served with seasoned fries and coleslaw. Whiskey glazed chicken slammers, $10.99. Buffalo chicken slammers, $10.99. Grilled salmon for $15.99. And Friday's big ribs for $14.99, all served with a side and fountain drink. Don't miss out on their happy hour. Karaoke on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and 50-cent wings on Monday. TGI Fridays, I-540 and Rogers Avenue, Fort Smith.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Pretty teeth, beauty lingers, dirty. You're my DCOD. I'm really crazy over you. Capturing, but never capture. You're my
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Well, make sure you got your plan set for Sam Pittman Live tonight at the Catfish Hole. Going to be the only Tuesday airing of the show because, we'll play Saturdays the rest of the season. Instead of a Thursday, will be a 7 o'clock show right after Ruskin and Zach, Chuck Barrett, Sam Pittman, and Nico DeVilliers and Amarian Harris, two Central Arkansas guys that will be there on the show. And we've heard a lot about Amarian Harris of late from Sam Pittman even yesterday.
Marion Harris has had an outstanding camp, and I don't know that there'll be any drop off there. I think he's not 5. If you were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's not 5. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's 3. I don't know if he's 4, but he's not 5. He's really done a really good job. I'm really pleased with how he's come along and gained his weight and playing, and he's always in position. I'm really happy for him.
Sounds like a captain right there. Speaking of captains, works hard. Love when an offensive lineman is a captain and a leader. I mean, that usually it usually results in success. It usually results in more wins when the big uglies up front, when they're leaders and they're captains. Because what they do, people just get in line. People just get right along and follow them.
Yeah, and I do think, again, the way they've talked about Fernando Carmona, left tackle, transfer from San Jose State, the way they've talked about him, if at some point Sam Pittman does name captains for the rest of the season instead of a weekly basis, I'd be amazingly surprised if he's not one of them and if Taylor Green isn't the other on the offensive side. The defensive side, I think you're looking probably a little bit more of guys that are returning, just like you'd mentioned. I think Landon Jackson, Hudson Clark would belong there too. But that may end up being a weekly question. Who are your captains this week until Sam says, well, we got these guys for the rest of the year. One thing they don't do on Sam Pittman Live is take phone calls. Haven't done that for a long time. I think, if ever. Now, Bobby Petrino did or not.
There's another show on that ACC coast. Now, I don't ACC, East Coast, West Coast, where you going, but you know what I mean. ACC coast, there's another coach that said he's not taking any live calls on their radio show.
That's right. Dabo Swinney won't take calls on I don't know what they call his coach's show, but I do remember the phone call from Tyler in Spartanburg last year that Dabo eventually went off on, and that's the whole reason he's not taking calls any longer. I do wonder too. So didn't Nick Saban take phone calls at Alabama? And sometimes the response to them would be just as entertaining as it could be to a reporter.
Yeah, aren't they kind of deciphered, or they're kind of put through that you kind of have an idea what's being asked to you?
Well, that's what a call screener's supposed to do.
You kind of know what's going on.
I wonder if that Tyler and Spartanburg call was screened or if he just lied about what he was going to talk about when he got on there. You don't have to really say what it was you're told the reporter, the producer, you were going to say.
And Dabo, don't get so defensive, bro. You're a G, man. You're one of the best to do it. Won a national championship at Clemson. Don't be so defensive about it.
Got to figure out a whole other segment to do something with other than his phone calls. One more hour to go on halftime. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio stops by about 20 minutes. 877-377-6963 when you want to get with us. And we'll be right back.
It's a stunning way to go somewhere new in the 2024 Buick Encore GX from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Right now, get up to $3,000 off and 0.9% financing for well-qualified buyers on the Buick Encore GX. The Encore GX is a boldly styled 5-person SUV that is ready to reward. Up to $3,000 off and 0.9% on the 2024 Buick Encore GX. Experience the new Buick at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Jaeger's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these red-hot buys at any of our 4 locations. 8x10 blue poly tarp was $7.97, now only $3.50. 128-ounce Spectracide Bug Stop Spray, $5.97 with your Ace Rewards card. And get a DeWalt 20-volt Max Drill and Impact Driver Kit with bonus drill bit set and carrying bag for only $159 with your Ace Rewards card. Find more everyday low prices online at JaegersHardware.com.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Warning, warning, attention all homeowners. Hi, this is Justin at West Termite Pest and Lawn. It's definitely bug season and we are priced to earn your business. Licensed in Arkansas and Oklahoma. Call today for a free evaluation, 479-782-7291. West Termite Pest and Lawn, protecting your home, health, and peace of mind.
All services performed with children and pets in mind.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, lots of sunshine, a high this afternoon, mid to upper 90s. Later on tonight, clear to partly cloudy and overnight low in the low 70s. Wednesday, a bounty of sunshine, a high near 95. And Thursday, just a slight chance of showers to storms, middle 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Green Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 2 days.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got to take it here. That's the perspective.
If I'm all right. Well, can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah.
People said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
Name of one Razorback. And vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Rolling along into our 1 o'clock hour, 1 minute after that 1 o'clock hour on halftime. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, got C45, Colton Little producing for this final hour. And halftime continues on ESPN Arkansas. Hit That Line Now app. Make sure you download that from the App Store or Google Play. HitThatLine.com always works as well. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio coming up in about 15 minutes. So it's an open segment now if you want to get on. 877-377-6963. Just looking some of the cuts that are coming through here. Cut day in the NFL. Looks like Kadarius Toney is being placed on waivers by the Kansas City Chiefs. And who else do we have here? Packers are cutting kicker Anders Carlson, former Auburn Tiger, is getting let go after missing a big field goal last year in their playoff loss to San Francisco. Bailey Zapp is going to hit the transaction wire. Titans apparently are going to be cutting their first-round pick from 2021, cornerback Caleb Farley, is going to be released according to Adam Schefter. And, man, it's a little bloody out there today, Matt.
You think, well, I guess we just lost C. Cowboy. What about Ezekiel Elliott? You think he makes the final cuts there in Dallas? Veteran running back. Maybe it's a no-brainer.
It's even just wild to think about, isn't it?
Maybe it's a no-brainer, but I wonder. I wonder if Zeke makes the cut.
Let's see here. I do see an article. Todd Archer on ESPN says Cowboys are keeping Ezekiel Elliott fresh for running back committee role. So I don't think he's going to be released. He hasn't carried a ball in the preseason yet, but it looks like he may make that final cut. But it's just kind of wild to think about someone as successful as Elliott's been in the NFL that maybe he had to sweat it out a little bit.
They so in honor of CeeDee Lamb signing his contract, I looked went through the rosters and I picked out my top 5 receivers I think right now in the NFL, and yes, CeeDee Lamb is one of them. You can put these in your order or whatever order you want, but my top 5: CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill would be number 1 for me. Justin Jefferson would be number 2. Devontae Adams would be number 3. CeeDee Lamb would be number 4. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, did I get close that time? He would be my 5th. Still, there's a lot of talented guys out there, but I didn't know what you thought of that about with those top guys. Those are my top 5 receivers in the NFL right now.
It sounds really good. Did I hear A.J. Brown in there? Did you?
A.J. Brown was 6.
Okay.
He was my 6th guy that I had. He's right there. You know, if you gave me A.J. Brown, I would not be mad at you at all.
You think Jefferson? I mean, his production's going to have to take a hit this year. You know, and I guess there was some wonder about, you know, whether J.J. McCarthy would be ready to lead a team, and you don't have to make a lot of plays after it was the running game last year. But, you know, he's going to have why am I forgetting? Sam Darnold will be starting for the Vikings too. So I wonder if Jefferson's numbers do take a pretty heavy hit, considering that Kirk Cousins is a guy that you could count on as long as he was healthy to get him the ball. And not necessarily, I would take Kirk Cousins over Sam Darnold, wouldn't you?
You know, Kirk Cousins, he's seen a lot of ball, and I talk about this a lot, Phil. We talk more about it with college quarterbacks. I bet he has 1,000 more game reps than Sam Darnold. You know, like, you know what you're getting. You can have a game plan. They're both, man, they're you know, you got Kirk Cousins 38 coming off a torn Achilles. Sam Darnold's really never come to fruition. I mean, you see Baker Mayfield kind of got a second shot, get a third shot, and what he was able to do. It's kind of like we talk about Rashard Dubinion this year. It's time, bro. It's time. This is your 3rd year. Let's go. Same with Sam Darnold. This might be his last shot to be a starting quarterback. So it's his time, and if it goes well, maybe he moves that on to a 4-year deal, and if not, maybe he's just a backup for the next couple of years. But it's kind of his time.
That's a little bit of like the Baker Mayfield story, right? I mean, just kind of, he's had to be a journeyman the last couple of years. And you see, like, they got issues at quarterback. I mean, big issues. Deshaun Watson's shoulder, I don't know if it's healthy from last year's injury. And they're still, I mean, they're locked into that contract. It is fully guaranteed. Boy, do you think the Browns would have liked to keep Joe Flacco?
The Browns just, you think about when they get Deshaun Watson from the Texans and all that stuff had already come out, and then so he has to miss then. Hey, you can't deny his talent if he's healthy, but like you're saying, maybe he's not healthy.
Well, neither was Mayfield that last year in Cleveland.
Right. Yeah.
And he gutted it out. And, it's not like he had a world beater season for Tampa Bay last year, but he threw for over 4,000 yards. He set his career high in touchdowns, just 10 interceptions, had a really good season. And Watson, to me, feels like he's just, I don't even say like a ghost of himself. He's not the same quarterback. He's not the same quarterback that was an MVP with the Texans. And I don't think it has much to do with anything that happened off the field. I just think he's not as good of a quarterback as he used to be. Browns have never just really been able to hit, right? I mean, think of all the guys they've tried over the last however many years. I mean, it's kind of, would you put it at the level of Chicago Bears in quarterbacks? Maybe not quite that level, but not far off.
I think you think back at when they did have a 1 or 2 pick, the Browns when they took Tim Couch, he had a shoulder injury, and that's the thing. He played well, actually took him to the playoffs, and was hurt and couldn't continue. Yeah, I mean they went through a lot of quarterbacks. I would say the Browns are worse than the Bears. The Bears at least had Jay Cutler, and they kind of had some success there. You do get
had Rex Grossman. I mean,
sexy Rexy, Kyle Orton,
Super Bowl's Rex.
Yeah, Kyle Orton could do it a little bit. The Browns would definitely be bottom of that list. And Caleb Williams is him and Jaden Daniels. You might have a real, so last year, C.J. Stroud and the kid for Carolina, Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud did his thing. Bryce Young, he looks like he might have a super sophomore year, so he might be able to turn it around and do well. At least that's what they're talking about. But then you're looking at the 1 and 2 quarterback this year. Out of Caleb Williams and Jalen Daniels, and they're saying both those guys are going to have some success, and some are even taking Daniels over Williams.
Since the 2020 season, and Watson had to sit out all of 2021, he's played in 12 football games in the last 3 years.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just 12 games. And he's beaten up from that, too. I just can't imagine he's going to make it through a 17-game schedule.
Has he been able to play any preseason this year?
I don't think so.
I know he's older, but that's my kind of it's not really a gripe or complaint, but with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, man, I need you to go one series for me, Holmes. I just need you to go one. If you get hurt in a preseason game going one series, you weren't going to play the rest of the year anyway. You were going to get hurt game one. We can make our changes now. But going from Green Bay, how he looked his last year, he looked slow. Those 4 plays he played looked at just a step slow. Like it takes you a little bit. You saw it with Nick Smith Jr. 2 years ago on the basketball team. You miss a couple games during the season for 3, 4, 5 weeks, man, you're just a step slow. There's nothing like live action reps.
Looking here at the Cleveland Browns history at quarterback. Tim Couch was their leading passer 4 years in a row, and then they didn't have somebody lead them in passing 4 consecutive years until Baker. And there was like 16 years between. Kelly Holcomb, Jeff Garcia, Trent Dilfer, Charlie Fry, Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Brandon Whedon, Jason Campbell, Brian Hoyer, Josh McNown, Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser, all led the Browns in passing until Mayfield came back. And I really think the Browns would rather have Baker Mayfield right now. Watson's got a sore arm, and I wonder about how you would feel on a team where the quarterback has a sore arm in the preseason. Would you view it the same way that a pitcher maybe is a little bit sore because the arm's just not quite used to it yet? I think a lot of people expect that'll happen during spring training. A little dead arm, you just got to work through it and hope it's nothing that's a major injury, and you got all the tests that you can run to make sure that if something's torn or if it's tweaked or whatever. But when you hear that the quarterback has a sore arm and is sitting out for the last preseason game, what's the feeling at that point, especially with somebody that had to miss most of last year, and one of the reasons was it was a shoulder injury?
Yeah, you wonder what the truth is there, honestly. So, Phil, my 4 years there in Jacksonville, you had Byron Leftwich and David Garrard were the starting quarterbacks a couple years apiece. And the only time the second-team quarterback took first-team reps was when either Byron, when he was the starter, when he had a sore arm or shoulder and didn't practice. Then you would have the second. That's what I say. The second team quarterback doesn't get to go with the first team, and so you look at these college kids, and that's why you got to get reps. That's the only time in camp that the second team quarterback. You might take one play here or there, but man, you run ones. If you're with the ones, that's the starting quarterback. That's how you go. And then if they're not going to practice that day, then the two gets to take the one reps.
You know, with Leftwich, my impression was that if his right arm was hurting him to the point where he couldn't throw it, he would just throw it with his left arm and he'd stay on the field.
He was probably one of my favorite teammates all time. Ultimate teammate guy. He had confidence in himself, but he was a team first guy, and that's so. I mean, the players want to play for you when you're like that. I mean, he was really one of the best teammates I ever had.
Quick break on halftime. We're about to visit with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio right after this break.
This is halftime.
I think you can be awfully proud of the way your fans are with you. I've never seen stands so full of life. The whole state was behind you. There was a spirit there about it, Coach, and that means that your team has done something that's really great for this state.
Thank you, sir. We're very proud of our fans. They've had a big part in the success that we've had.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Traylon down the sideline. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Valley Family Dental, formerly known as Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family. General dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Farmer, and now Dr. Blaine Van Nuys work to give all of their patients a better smile. Valley Family Dental, 5501 Riley Park Drive, Suite A at the entrance to Riley Farm. Now offering same-day crowns. 226-3500 for an appointment or visit valleyfamilydentalpractice.com.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
7,000 off on remaining 2023 GMC Sierras, or up to 7,000 off on remaining GMC Yukon XLs at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. These are the largest factory discounts in years, so hurry before they're gone. Plus up to $6,500 off on in-stock 2024 GMC Sierras. Conquer the road with confidence in a GMC Sierra from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. I'm talking about the Limbird team. Tara Limbird, Limbird Real Estate Group, has sold over $1 billion in real estate. Tara's team can give you a cash offer in 72 hours, or use Tara's high-octane marketing to sell your home quite possibly for thousands over asking. Find out more at LimbirdTeam.com. LIMBIRD.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Football, fantasy drafts, new school supplies. It's my favorite time of year. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Born and raised in the River Valley, I know how crazy traffic can get this time of year. As kids head back to class, remember to use caution at crosswalks and in school zones. But not all accidents can be avoided. If you or your loved one is injured in a car wreck, call today. 479-769-1505. No win, no fee. Mock Legal Solutions. Real advice, reasonable price.
Did you know that almost 80% of all advertising is spent on digital? This is Dale Daniels, Digital Sales Manager for ESPN Arkansas, and due to the growth in digital advertising, we have the opportunity for the right person to join our team. Digital and radio advertising go hand in hand, and we're looking for someone to help businesses grow with this powerful combination. If you have experience in broadcast and digital marketing or business development, we want to hear from you. Email your resume to sales@hitthatline.com. Pearson Broadcasting is an equal opportunity employer.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Place your feet on solid ground. Friends come and go, who's got you now? Those obstacles ahead, they don't disappear if you stay trapped inside your head. So get on out and face yourself.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Let's head right to our hotline and talk with Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio, hosting 6 to 9 WNSR. He is the king of college football talk. Bill, I think I said happy football season last week when we had you on. Now we've actually had some games to watch. So we're in a sweet spot now, right?
It gets real this week, guys. It's officially real this week. I'm very excited about it.
Man, what a just a crazy finish to that Florida State Georgia Tech matchup. Is there anything, Bill? I'm ready for this Miami Florida game. That's when I'm looking. There's a lot of good games opening week, but you want to talk about Billy Napier in Florida just changing the whole perception of this team if they're able to beat Miami. What are your thoughts on that? And then also, how does Florida State rebound from that loss?
I think Florida plays well in this game with a chance to win. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a predictor of the season, the schedule being so cumbersome, but I wouldn't be surprised if they played very well in this opener at home. Florida State got outcoached at the 8-0 mark where they drive down, easily score, do anything they wanted, run or pass. They got outcoached. They got out-tough-guyed. Georgia Tech had to tighten that game up and keep it into a grind. You're not going to get into an athletic foot race, green grass game with that Florida State team if you're Georgia Tech. They got it in the phone booth. They started running all that counter stuff. All you had to do was follow the pulling guard to see where the ball was going. And they got a hat on a hat and out-bullied Florida State. I don't think Florida State thought that could happen, and I don't think they were able to recover. And obviously, guys, it was a last end of the game drive that won. It's not like they blew them out or anything, but they had them on their heels. And, guys, there were only 14 total possessions in that ball game. And that's what Georgia Tech had to have. There was a fantastic coaching job by Brent Key.
Do you think are there supposed to be fewer possessions now in college football? It feels like there's a chance to be fewer offensive plays. Potentially because of the headset. I know that some coaches have talked about that. Do you think scoring will be down or up this year because of the headset?
I don't know if it has to do with the headset. It might be down a little bit, but the other problem is, guys, the activation of the 40-second clock is so inconsistent. They weren't winding that thing up like they do in the NFL. It was 8 seconds after the play was over. and the regular clock's running, but the 40-second clock wouldn't be hit until about 8 seconds later. It was really weird, and it was inconsistent. And that might be somewhat of a problem when you talk about possessions at the end of a game. And it might add to the possessions if you think about it. But I'm not sure if we know yet in depth if scoring's up or down this year. There's a lot of good quarterbacks, a lot of good receivers.
It reminds me of when I was at Jacksonville, we'd play the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning, and that was our game plan going in, was to try to have 14 total possessions per. Because if you give the ball to Peyton Manning too many times, he's going to wear you out. So Notre Dame and Texas A&M, top 20 matchup. When you look at these two teams, I think A&M is going to be better on defense. If I just was to say, hey, put up the A&M roster versus the Notre Dame roster, which one of these two teams has more talent? And do you like Notre Dame's quarterback that transfer from Duke?
Yeah, Riley Leonard's really good. And remember, Mike Gimbrock, who was at LSU, coaching Jaden Daniels, is now the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's roster is a little deeper, but there's two problems. Number one, it's in College Station, and when Notre Dame comes to town, it's not like anybody else coming to town. People go crazy. So they're going to have to deal on a Saturday night in College Station with that crowd. And the other problem is the best unit at A&M is their defensive line, and their best player is Nick Scorton, who's a transfer from Purdue, but he's a Texas kid. He's a top 5, top 10 pick in the draft. And Notre Dame is starting a true freshman left tackle because of an injury to their starter, Charles Jagasaw. So the problem is you've got that crowd, you've got a true freshman, you're going against probably as physical a defensive end as you might see in your career in college, and you're doing it with a noise problem where you can't hear the snap count. There's all kinds of issues there, guys. So when I'm watching that game, I'm watching the left side of that Notre Dame offensive line and how they deal with A&M's defensive front.
Guess who comes to Fayetteville next year, Bill? First time the schools ever meet. Notre Dame's coming to Fayetteville next year, so we'll have that kind of atmosphere for that game next year for sure.
Correct.
I wanted to ask about Georgia and Clemson. I know has Kirby said anything about what's going to happen with Travis Etienne? I know they're kind of down at running back too. They've had a season-ending injury of late. What do you think will happen leading up to that game, and then what do you think of the matchup?
They're not saying. I'm assuming we're not going to know until we see players trot out into the lineup. They've already taken supposedly 5 figures from him in his NIL money. Now, what 5 figures? That could be $10,000, that could be $50,000. But they say it's 5 figures. That's his punishment. And I don't know if they're going to do something on the field or not. I don't know what their policy is regarding this, nor are they saying anything about it. So the answer, long-winded, is unclear about him playing in that game. I think they're better than Clemson regardless, but Clemson's probably playing with a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They've seen for months now they're a 2-touchdown underdog, and I can see that game being close for a while.
How about Brian Kelly, LSU, if they take on USC September 1st this Sunday, and somehow USC is able to win this game? Are you giving USC a shot against this LSU team? You think Brian Kelly could start feeling the heat again?
It's going to be a lot of points. Both teams coming off years where their defense wasn't very good. And they feel like they're getting better, and they've both got new coordinators, very highly thought of coordinators. But it's probably going to be a very pointsy game. And Zachariah Branch, the true sophomore, all-purpose receiver, return, all those, is top couple of playmakers in the game, in the college game. That's going to be a very difficult matchup. Now, LSU, on the flip side, has what might be the best offensive line in the country. And they think they can line up and just bully them, which I think they probably can. So that's going to be an interesting contrast of what the styles of play. We know LSU, if they have to, can drop back and chuck the ball all over the field. They don't necessarily have to do that in this ball game. And they may try and get this thing into somewhat of a grinder and just try and wear Southern Cal out.
Bill, I'm a Jimmy Franklin fan. I love some James Franklin there at Penn State.
Yeah.
They're going to take on the Mountaineers. I have Penn State making it to the playoff 12 this year. Any chance there's an upset there? Morgantown, I know it's an early kickoff, but that's not an easy place to go in there and get a win. Is West Virginia, do they have a little bit of talent to compete with Penn State this year?
When I first got into national radio a little over 20 years ago, the most shocking thing that I discovered, and I thought I knew it all, was how passionate West Virginia fans are. Mm-hmm. I did not realize the level of passion. This will be an absolute lunatic crowd for this ball game. You're right. It's a early kickoff. It's not like Saturday night and they're out there burning couches, which is a tradition there.
Well, they'll burn couches if they win. That doesn't matter what time of the day it is.
Correct. Now, the problem is Penn State's got the better personnel. I don't think West Virginia pulls off the upset. I think it could be a very, white knuckler game. Maybe you get into the fourth quarter, have to make a couple of plays. I could see that. I don't know if I believe West Virginia shuts the door and beats them, though.
What do you think is a better tradition, burning couches in Morgantown or TPing Toomer's Corner in Auburn?
Pick
one that's
visitor
safer.
Locker room, Iowa.
That's right. And I found this out the first time I went with Arkansas to Bryant-Denny Stadium. You know that the visiting locker room at Bryant-Denny Stadium, they got donors that have their names named after all of them. There was a man whose last name is Fail who donated the money for the visiting locker room. Bill, the visiting locker room at Bryant-Denny Stadium is called the Fail Room. It's the same as the pink color inside the Iowa locker room.
I tell you what, now I don't know if some city ordinance, did they shut down the couch burning thing or not? I don't know if they're still doing that, but I know they did it for us.
They want to stay elected. They're not going to take that.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Hey, Bill, we were talking a little bit about Tennessee's roster and how they did the two deep. Who is their starting running back at Tennessee? Are they going to be by committee, or is Sampson the clear RB1 there?
Yeah, Dylan Sampson is RB1, and he is a quick twitch, smallish, probably 5'10", 200, but physical and a green grass home run hitting running back. Now, he's not a 20-plus carry guy. That's the other item. And their next running back is a kid named Cam Selden, who busted his shoulder in the spring. They think he's better, ready to go. And then they have a freshman out of Virginia they think may be the best player they've got. He's the fastest player on the team, but he's a true freshman. They're an injury away from being in some depth trouble at running back. But guys, like we talked, their big problem is their secondary. It is a monster question mark, and if they're going to lose, that might be the reason to lose some games.
I wonder what your perspective is, and maybe like the national perspective on this game that Arkansas is playing in Little Rock against UAPB, and not just that game, but the idea of playing games in Little Rock. There's only one more left on the contract, and it's next year against Arkansas State. This is supposed to be a home game. I'm looking at an SEC schedule where Auburn does not leave the Plains for the first 5 weeks. Missouri does not leave Columbia for the first 5 weeks. Their fifth week is an off week. Oklahoma is in Norman for the first 4 weeks. Bill, the Razorbacks play the first 5 games in 5 different stadiums. I don't know other team that's ever had to do that.
That is a really odd stat. Yeah, it really is. Well, I think, let me give you the national perspective on a show in Arkansas. Not many people believe that Sam Pittman's going to survive after this season. There's very little belief about that. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a locker room motivator, if it matters at all. It shouldn't matter. But that's the consensus outside of the Arkansas family. Now, inside, you guys would probably have a lot better feel for that than me. But it's going to be very difficult, to say the least.
Well, you're right, and I've tried to point this out. Nobody is giving Arkansas a shot outside of the borders of the state.
Right.
Nobody is. So it literally is them against the world, and even in some cases, them against people in their own fan base, which, there's other programs that have the same thing going on.
Sure. No, same with Florida. Florida doesn't have anybody who believes in them.
Well, we'll see what happens because we get 12 games to for the evidence to be put right there in front of us. Bill, enjoy all the football this week. Appreciate
Okay,
you making
guys.
time for us today. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
And we always appreciate Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, stopping by with us every Tuesday on halftime.
Things get tricky in Morgantown, Phil, especially at night. That 11 a.m. might help Penn State, but at night game, I'd be a little nervous.
Yeah. I used to go to camp in Morgantown, but it wasn't on campus. It wasn't in town. It was a little lake called Cheat Lake, which was way off of campus. But that my sister, who is 3.5 years younger than me, she did 1 year, her freshman year at West Virginia University. She did just 1 year at West Virginia University. And then she got her wits about her and figured that she might not make it off campus if she stayed there another year. It is a different place. It's crazy in Morgantown.
You think J.D. Vance could get a NIL with Morgan?
I do think that Pat McAfee was the perfect kicker for the perfect school there in Morgantown, West Virginia. Absolutely. Quick break on halftime. You want to be with us? 877-377-6963. Back right after this for the home stretch.
This is halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Up to $10,000 off on the manager specials at Harry Robinson, Salisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisaw. The front row is where it's happening, Troy.
Yes, it is. The manager specials. You know, y'all wanted it. We brought it back. We've got those units parked right there up front. They're up to $10,000 off of the original asking price. And you know, it's the end of the month. We've been talking about this. You get the discounts, and we're going to match your down payment of up to $2,500.
So if you got $1,000, it becomes $2,000, $1,500 becomes $3,000, up to $2,500 that just all of a sudden turns into $5,000.
Yes. I mean, Tommy, you're talking about free money here. This can eliminate negative equity. This can put you in a better equity position, lower your monthly payment. It's a win-win. Come down here and see us, Harry Robinson, Salisaw Ford. The best prices, the best customer service, and let us match your down payment of up to $2,500.
It's the manager specials, up to $10,000 off. They're on the front row at Harry Robinson, Salisaw Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisaw.
Are you interested in saving money on your heating bills and upgrading your home's energy efficiency? Now's the time. Installing or upgrading to natural gas allows you to take advantage of high-efficiency appliances that save energy and money. From furnaces to water heaters to gas dryers and fireplaces, there's a natural gas option to fit your home and your budget. What's not to love about that? Don't wait. Call AOG today at 800-842-5690 or visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
Precision Garage Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all your garage door needs, including garage door repair and new garage doors and openers. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and in Fort Smith at 416 North 10th Street. Call Precision Garage Door today at 844-PDS-DOOR or check them out online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Financing is available. Precision Garage Door, voted best garage door company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Took a car to the part of the city where the city runs out of the streetlights. God knows it's the way that it goes, that we're never gonna catch any daylight. My little sister's eyes so wide, they must have been the size of the city road tonight. Little sister's eyes so wide, they must have been the size of the city.
Welcome back to Halftime with Bill Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Bill Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
It's kind of a wild thing that has happened in Major League Baseball, Matt. Dylan Cruz made his Major League debut yesterday for the Washington Nationals. That means 3 of the top 4 picks from last year, the 2023 draft, are in the major leagues now. I don't think that's ever happened before. Paul Skeens got there earlier this year. Wyatt Langford's been up. I think Langford might have gotten up last year with the Texas Rangers. And Dylan Cruz is up with the Nationals now. So, I mean, that makes the 2023 draft really a one-off.
Who's next, you think, in that top 5, top 10 pick in that draft field that you think makes their debut?
That's a good question. I don't know what some of these guys have done in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
I would wonder about Chase Dolander with Colorado if he's healthy, just because of how good I remember him being with Tennessee. I remember Jacob Wilson, who was the 6th overall pick, Oakland A's that year. He had played against Arkansas with Grand Canyon, and I thought he was somebody that could end up being major league ready too.
Didn't you say Dylan Cruz had the best bat 2 years ago? Like
he did.
He had the best bat. Yeah,
great center fielder too. But so that's a little bit of a one-off thing. That I mean, who knows if that happens this next year? Because has anybody gotten up to the big leagues from this year's draft?
They probably hit better in that MLB draft than they did in the NBA draft. You know, you start talking about the top 5 picks, top 7 picks are kind of you're supposed to be your. Especially that's why they call it the lottery. But those first 7, 8, 9 picks are supposed to be pretty solid, and then sometimes they don't always work out that way.
But so in baseball, see, these guys are usually just going to be seasoned in the minor leagues for a year to 2 years or 3 years in some cases.
Don't they want to get them 1,000 at bats at that level, and then they move them up?
About right,
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also like the time that you bring somebody up has so much to do with how long you can keep that player before they're eligible for arbitration or free agency. So another thing about baseball, and I'll move into something else. The Cubs stole 8 bases against the Pirates yesterday. They had not stolen that many bases in a game since 1913. And Brady Feigl was the guy that was the starting pitcher for that game yesterday. This is somebody that made his major league debut at the age of 33. So, it's like, all right, I have finally gotten up to the big leagues. I am so excited about this. I've been trying to do this my entire life. Feigl he was a high school guy, so he never went to college, and made his way through the minor leagues for a long, long time. And then he gets up to the big leagues yesterday, and he stunk. It wasn't very good for him. He gave up 6 runs in an inning and 2/3, and they stole any base they wanted to against him. But 33-year-old major league rookie finally got there, and it had to feel good until he threw his first pitch.
See you at the yard, meat.
That's exactly right. He was meat. He was meat yesterday.
He'll get another shot, huh? Like you.
He'll probably get another shot. I mean,
One
it's
more.
the Pirates. They need to throw somebody in the next 4 days. It'll be him. Might as well. It's interesting, too, because you think of who's on that rotation. Paul Skeens, who didn't even spend a year in the minor leagues, and Brady Feigl, who spent, like 8 or 9 years in the minors before he finally got up to the big leagues.
Hey, Paul Skeens is that Caitlin Clark, man. I mean, other than his actually team and union like him, because Paul Skeens started the All-Star game as a pitcher. I mean, what? Get out of here, man. That's talk about two just ultimate rookies that are like could be an icon. I know you said you rarely use the word icon. I think Caitlin Clark is and will continue to be one. Paul Skeens could be that way too as well.
But nobody's throwing elbows at him when he's walking off the field.
They embrace
Clark.
him. Come here, brother. It's the pettiness or hatefulness.
He's no longer the front runner for Rookie of the Year in the National League. There's this Jackson Merrill, the first round pick of the Padres from the 2021 draft. And he's having a great rookie season for a team that's competing for a playoff spot. 19 home runs, 290 average. He's stolen 14 bases. And the idea is also that you don't know how much longer Skeens is going to actually pitch before the Pirates shut him down. So he might not be on people's minds very much those last few weeks. So Merrill may end up with that. Are we watching the Untold documentary today with Connor Stallions? Stallions made, I don't know. I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I know it's been out today, and people have been writing about it. He said never advanced scouted. This was coming right from his meeting with the NCAA investigators. This is per an ESPN report. He told them he never advanced scouted. If it was about signals, he obtained signals the way every other team does through watching TV copies and talking to the other intel guys from other teams. What set him apart, he said, was the way in which he organized that information and processed it. Not the tickets that he bought to all the other games and people that were going to those games on his behalf. He said, I have nothing to do with somebody's choice to go to a football game and whether or not they send a text message after it. So it's just, I don't know if we're going to get anything from this documentary outside of the story that we already know. I don't think there's going to be some sort of mea culpa from this documentary. It's not like he's going to admit any wrongdoing. So I don't really know what we're going to get out of this. It would just be 58 minutes of your life that you won't get back, and you get to relive the controversy from last year.
We know what happened. I'm a little interested more in the Steve McNair show that came out. That would be probably, if I was to put them in my queue, which one would be first? That Steve McNair one.
Now I watched that last weekend.
It's worth. How long is that? Is that a 2? It's an hour?
I think it was 58 minutes, and you get a lot from Jeff Fisher. I mean, he sat with them a long time for interviews for it. And you could see the emotion in his face and hear it in his voice, talking about the day and the moment that he heard that McNair was murdered. Now, they didn't know who murdered him then, but we know now it was one of his mistresses. And I mean, that's they do get a little bit into the details about it. So it's a sordid story, a really sordid story. But also, this documentary does try to raise some of the questions of folks that wonder if the girlfriend was a fall girl and might not have done it and may have ended up being murdered by who they think was the real murderer. So that does delve into it too. Yes, that's exactly right. It's a little different than your Untold Connor Stallions documentary, independent of anything that he says during this documentary. It's not life and death. And then I don't know what was the other one that was going to come out too. It's just these were the first two that seemed to get people's attention. JT thinks Michigan cheated and everyone knows it. And I agree. I think so too. You're not going to be buying tickets for people for all these other games if you're not getting something out of it. Central Michigan University had to release a statement. You remember he was on the sideline. I forget who the opponent was, for a team that was going to play Michigan later on that year and ends up on the CMU sidelines. And they have made a statement. They're aware of inferences made in the new Netflix documentary. For the past 10 months, we've fully cooperated. We're going to continue to cooperate. We're eager to bring Central Michigan University is sick and tired of this too. I just don't really think we're going to get much out of it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it later tonight. But I don't expect a mea culpa. As much as I want one, I just don't think we're getting one.
You can be like, I like it when you lie to me now. I like it when you lie to me now. It's like there's no way anything he says I'm going to believe. It's like, yeah, I don't really believe it, but okay, keep talking, I guess.
But also, what? So now he's a defensive coordinator for high school. I think around Detroit. What? Are we just supposed to accept that everybody cheats and it's okay, and then you move on to the next job and it's just okay? Does everybody do this? I understand everybody does decipher signals. Everybody tries to decipher signals. This is a point that Stallions is trying to make. Everybody is trying to decipher signals. But he's admitting that he's only done it through television broadcasts, through the tapes that every other school got too. So, I mean, why did every other school not send a representative to opponents' games throughout the season to really get the decipher, to be able to decipher, to get it from all angles and everything? I don't think you really get all of the signs and the signals from the all 22 or from the television broadcast. Otherwise, he would not have had to go on the road and pay for tickets for his buddies at all these other games. This will end up being one of those stories of cheating in which nobody admits it. And that leads me to, and to be proud of my daughter for this, she's got a science project at high school. She's a 10th grader, and she has decided, I've told you, Matt, she's way into football right now. Her science project will be to show that a deflated football can be thrown easier by a quarterback and caught easier by a wide receiver. She's going back to Deflategate. That was before she was even born, for crying out loud. I'm such a proud father.
Student of the game. I love it.
Got that right. Quick break on halftime. Back to wrap up the show in just a moment.
This is halftime.
Missing or broken teeth? Sharp Smiles wants you to start chewing again with dental implants. Scared of the dentist? Sharp Smiles will help you overcome your fear. Big dental problems? Sharp Smiles Modern Dentistry and Implants is your answer to your dental needs and services, where your smile is top priority. Get the smile you have always wanted from the friendly faces at Sharp Smiles, 2600 Market Trace, Suite B, off Jenny Lind across from Harps. For more information, visit the website at sharpsmilesdds.com or call 648-9988.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With the never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
See Agent Chris Dooley in Fort Smith.
Do you need an attorney that you can actually speak with? You need Hickey & Hull Law Partners. The attorneys at Hickey & Hull understand the importance of client communication and are taking the time to meet you, respond to emails, and return calls. Every case is important, and they strive to give each one the time and attention it deserves. Call today, 479-434-2414, or visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com. Hickey & Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Your home is your biggest asset. So when you decide to add a sunroom, a patio cover, a new driveway, or new windows, you need to call a company you can trust. Sawyers has been part of your community for over 30 years. They're insured, licensed, and have 100% financing for all of their products. Take all the worry out of your next project. Call Sawyers and let them handle it from permitting to completion. Sawyers, serving the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas with a full showroom located in Fort Smith or online at sawyers-sunrooms.com.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Herod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Seems I got to have a change in scene. 'Cause every night I have the strangest dreams. Imprisoned by the way things used to be, yeah. Left here on my own, so it seems. I got to leave before I start to scream. Somebody locked the door and took the key. Feeling alright. I'm not feeling too good myself. Feeling alright. I'm not feeling too good myself.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Man, I mean, why did I just do my Joe Cocker imitation during the commercial break?
It was what was the Saturday Night Live with Jim Belushi, and they're doing that, and he's getting it all. He's going, man. That's some good stuff right there.
You can't do a Joe Cocker imitation without making it look like you've just been electrically shocked. I mean, by 1.21 gigawatts. Good song selection there. Did that come from C45?
How do you think he got his nickname? I mean, that's he's spinning records, just dropping dimes, and
he's connected with it. Very well done.
Anything from the Invincible soundtrack, the Invincible movie with about the story of Vince Papale by Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
It's a
football movie.
certified
That's
banger.
right.
Certified banger.
We've got an interesting situation here with halftime now, because with the change in the programming day on our stations, Chuck and Bo, 6 to 9, Morning Rush, 9 to 11, halftime still 11 to 2, unless it's Thursday, we're going 11 to 1, and then Ruskin and Zach right after that, 2 to 6. Ruskin and Zach have a dedicated producer, DQ. Chuck and Bo have a dedicated producer right now, part Bart Pullman, part Ty Richardson, because Ty is kind of having to wake up early again and produce the show in the headquarters. And then I think isn't Seaburger Movie Unit with the Morning Rush for the entire 2 hours? We get split up, 2 hours of C Unit, 1 hour of C45. So I feel like, I mean, it's like a competition between these two, Matt. We're not ready to grade them just yet. It's just been 2 days of this.
Well, and C PlayStation, C NCAA. He's got to make sure he represents because that's right. I mean, the big time is getting it's about to start, and let's go get the game, C Unit.
Do you play the game C45?
I sure do. I'm probably not at quite the competitive level that Christian is. I'm more focused on developing a narrative, like with the Dynasty, rebuilding back a team that I like, things like that. I'm also just really bad at playing the game. I can't cover anybody to save my life. So, yeah, I usually just kind of patsy on defense. But I'm not a competitive player. I'm more of a build a story type of player.
Well done with the narrative thing. It's a good term that we like to use in the media quite often. You could have said you're just not very good, because that's what it sounded like.
Oh, I mean, I'm really bad. I've been playing the game, for as long as I can remember. Like, I think my first Madden was Madden 05 with Donovan McNabb. So I've been playing for a long time. I've just always kind of sucked. So, that's just the way it is. But I sure bought the game, and I've spent a lot of hours on it, much to my wife's chagrin.
You should have gotten better by now. It's been a long time. I hope I've gotten better in these 6 years hosting the show. You should have gotten a little bit better. Hey, make sure you download the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. C Podcast and C45 have worked on that together. It'll come out soon. Ruskin and Zach are standing by to take you right up until 7. Then it's Sam Pittman Live, Chuck, Coach Pittman, Nico DeVilliers, and Amarian Harris. And we're back with you tomorrow for a wonderful Wednesday edition of Halftime. For Matt Jones, for Kristen Johnston and Colton Little, I'm Phil Elson. Thanks for listening today. That's Halftime. Now get up, get out, and get better.